Chapter 28-26. When Yi Zichen did things, he always meant what he said. Since he promised to let Bai Yu open the shop, he definitely wasn't joking. A few days later, Yi Zichen and company could only do one thing: choosing a shop. Having a good storefront and location would definitely be beneficial to the store in the future. In these few days, Yi Zichen and company carefully checked the flow of people on the street. In the end, he picked out a few shops from the many choices. These are the ones I filtered out. I feel like there are quite a lot of customers in these shops. Take a look. As the initiator of the incident, during this period of time, Bai Yu was more serious than anyone else. During the day, he would check on the flow of people in the city. At night, he would burn the midnight oil and do data analysis. Even Hua Jianro was impressed by her determination. He didn't mention that she wasn't suitable for running a shop, but tried his best to provide some assistance to her. "You're the one who opened the shop. Why are you showing me these things?" On a park bench, Yi Zichen crossed his arms behind his head and leaned against the bench as he looked at the blue sky. Then, he lowered his head and smiled at Bai Yu. "What do you like?" I think this shop's location is better." Among the many choices, Bai Yu extended his pale finger and pointed at a store marked with a star. "Alright, this one then." Yi Zichen didn't ask any further. He simply agreed. "That don't you want to hear the reason?" Hearing that, Yi Zichen smiled. "Would I not trust you? I believe that you have to make a choice. Just directly tell me how many points do you need to buy this shop." 2 million a year. Bai Yu pursed his lips and muttered. "Only 120? Yi Zichen couldn't help but exclaim in surprise when he heard Bai Yu's answer. The hotel they stayed in. One night would cost 1,000 points. That would be 350,000 yuan a year. Now, if they directly rented a shop, the annual rent would only be 2 million. It was totally acceptable. Are there many? Bai Yu thought that Yi Zichen thought that the rent was too high. It was not surprising that she would think this way. They only had 9 million points now. He took out 2 million in one go. Indeed, the burden on them was not small. This is already quite a good price-performance ratio. I chose this shop based on the number of comments and visitors there, the size of the shop, and the location. Besides, the shop also provides accommodation. We can move out of the hotel and live in the shop. In this case, this shop is only worth 85 renminbi. It's already a cheaper shop. Bai Yu answered carefully. Hearing that, Yi Zichen laughed. "No, I really think it's cheap. Don't overthink it. And you also said that there's accommodation there. That's even more cost-effective, isn't it? Then let's buy this shop right now. As for what business to do, we'll talk about it when the time comes." Yi Zichen was filled with heroic spirit. He waved his hand and made his decision. He didn't like to think too much about these things. "It's not a big deal to anger me." Bai Yu and the others had come with him for a trial. Even though the trial was beneficial to them, with their backgrounds, staying in their clans might be more comfortable. Moreover, with the strength of their clans, it wouldn't be difficult for them to break through to the monarch or venerable realm. Moreover, the environment here was not particularly safe. The fact that they were willing to come with Yi Zichen was giving him face. Yi Zichen would naturally do his best to satisfy all of their need. Thus, when Bai Yu mentioned that she wanted to open a shop, he agreed without hesitation. There was nothing else to say. As long as he could do it, he would definitely do it. Yet, at that very moment, Bai Yu pursed her lips. Seeing her expression, Yi Zichen knew that there was definitely something else going on. Could it be that there were other fees? If there really was something like that, then it couldn't be casually accepted. Some shops used the excuse of being cheap. They used other fees to increase the rent of the shop. This kind of behavior wasn't much different from scamming. Most importantly, there would be a lot of things that would happen in the future. For example, there would be fees here and there. Thus, it was better to rent a shop in one go. Are there any other problems? Yi Zichen frowned. If you want to rent this shop, you need to pay 3 years' worth of rent, and you also need to put down a year's worth of rent. Bai Yu pursed her lips. Bai Yu pursed his lips and said, "This is already the lowest condition the owner can accept. Put down 1 and pay 3. Isn't this a common method of renting on Earth? I didn't expect the ancestral dragon clan to have it as well." According to this method, Yi Zichen and company needed to provide 4 years' worth of rent, which was a total of 4.8 million points. Yi Zichen's points were too lacking. If he really wanted to buy the shop, then he needed to use Xia Qi's points. Then use what I have here. Xia Qi raised her hand and took out the crystal. This time, Bai Yu didn't refuse. Since she mentioned the shop, and since she already knew that the shop needed to be paid like this and that Yi Zichen had points, she actually considered Xia Qi's points. Her thoughts were rather simple. She just had to move it around a bit, and when the shop's business improved, the points would be returned to her. Qi's points can't be moved around. Yi Zichen's expression was very determined. That was his bottom line. Even if they had to sleep on the streets, he definitely couldn't use Xia Qi's points. Her points were used to save her life. Have you guys thought it through? I just found another pretty good shop. Hua Jianrou ran over with a smile. Hua Jianrou ran over with a smile. This park was their rendezvous point. Every day, they would have their own tasks and go to the corresponding areas to scout. Bai Yu already made her decision. Really? Which one? Hua Jianrou walked over. Bai Yu pointed at the shop she had just ordered. This one is pretty good. Hua Jianrou recommended. The location is pretty good. What's more, I looked around, the interior of the shop is big enough. It's just a bit old. How much is the rent? 820. So cheap? Hua Jianrou instantly glared. Then hurry up and go. The rent for the surrounding shops is more than 200 a year. But you need to put down 1 and pay 3. Hearing that, Hua Jianrou was stunned. Then that's hard. But this price is really good. If you miss it, then you might not be able to see it again. That's why I said use mine. Xia Qi shrugged helplessly. Can you guys listen to me? It's hard for me to do things like this, alright? Chapter 28-27. These people were really blockheads. So inflexible. Xia Qi had never encountered a situation where she couldn't spend the money she had. Why couldn't she spend it? Just for the sake of the seniors of the Dragon Clan, they gave her points to ensure her safety. You guys are so interesting. I can't be bothered to talk to you guys. Why aren't you letting me use my points? Are these points mine or yours? Xia Qi looked around with knitted eyebrows, then took out the point stone. This is my point stone, right? I'm the owner, right? I should have the right to decide, right? Qi, don't be stubborn, Yi Zichen frowned. Yi Zichen frowned, then muttered. Your safety is more important than anything else. Zichenji, I feel like... Xia Qi hesitated for a moment. I feel like there's something wrong with your way of thinking. Do you think I'm right in saying that? Right now, the point stone was given to me by the Dragon Seniors, but in the end it's just your guesses. If I say that the stone was picked up from the ground, then that also means the truth of the point stone doesn't belong to the stone dragon elder. Seeing that Yi Zichen was about to speak, Xia Qi raised her hand and spoke first. I know what you want to say. Even if the points given by the dragon elders aren't stones, I can still keep them safe. All right. Then let me put it this way. Right now, Bai Yu needs 4.8 million points. Apart from the 1.9 million you have, you still need 2.9 million. What's the impact of me taking them out? Could it be such a coincidence that the number of people who want to kill me just so happens to have 19 million points? It can't be. Or perhaps, you guys have another theory, which is that those who are plotting against me have a lot of points. Even 20 million might not be enough. Then, since it's not enough, then we still need that too. 9 million? Think about it carefully. Xia Kik's long speech revealed her inner thoughts. She truly felt like Yi Zichen and company had their way of thinking fixed. They were stubbornly believing that the points couldn't be used, but they didn't consider whether using a few points would have a serious impact on her. 9 million. Was it serious? No. Actually, as the person in question, Xia Kiki could see things more clearly. Yi Zichen and the others were simply too concerned. She could understand that. However, at the same time that he had the corresponding resources, he didn't use the corresponding resources in the face of difficulties. Instead, he chose to rack his brain to think of ways to solve the problem. Then what was the point of these resources? Kiki, you can't use it. Xia Kiki had thought that her words would be able to make Yi Zichen think things through, but she was unable to. The result was still the same. I understand what you said, but I don't want you to take any risks. Even if it's 1 in a trillion, I won't. Yi Zichen's gaze was sincere and resolute. When he said that, Xia Kiki couldn't say anything else. I'll take care of the points. You guys go back to the hotel and rest. Bai Yu, go tell the owner of that shop that we want it. Yi Zichen looked up at the depressed Bai Yu with a smile. Ah! Bai Yu couldn't help but be stunned. Then, he saw Yi Zichen take out a crystal. There are 1.5 million points in here. Give it to him as a deposit. Tell him that the rest of the payment will be in his hands in 2 days at most. If we go back on our words, we won't get a single cent back. Actually, Yi Zichen had considered this possibility a long time ago. He had intentionally split the point stones into 2 portions at the credit bank in the city. Yi Zichen still had 400,000 in his hands. In other words, he was prepared to use 400,000 to earn all the points he had left, or even more. Zichenji, why you know how to earn points? Xia Kik's eyes were filled with shock. They'd practically looked around the entire town over the past few days, but they hadn't found any way to earn points. They saw a few shops hiring people, but the points they earned were pitifully low. Give it a try. Yi Zichen chuckled. I do have a way, but it's not very reliable. I've left 400,000 as a reserve fund. If I lose everything, I might need your points. No problem. What's mine is yours. Xia Kiki nodded. That's it for now. Bai Yu, take the points and go and sign the contract with the shop. I'm going to give it a try as well. Yi Zichen pursed his lips with a smile, then looked around. Yi Zichen pursed his lips and smiled, then looked around. Meng Luo and the Flame Rat have been gone for a long time. Go and find them later and see if the 2 kids are playing somewhere again. Alright. Hearing that, everyone left. Bai Yu and Hua Jianrou went to find the shop owner, while Su Yan pursed her lips and looked at Yi Zichen for a long time. What are you going to do? It definitely isn't anything good, Yi Zichen shrugged. Yi Zichen shrugged. Su Yan instantly frowned when she heard his reply. Then why are you still going? There's no helping it. Yi Zichen let out a long sigh. No matter if it's to maintain our lives when the shop is open or Kiki, we'll need a large amount of points. I have to take a gamble. Is it dangerous? Su Yan asked softly. Not really dangerous. I don't think Zhu Ying wants me to die here. Yi Zichen rubbed his nose. It's just that the points shouldn't be very stable. You're going to find her? Why would I find her? It's her people who found me, Yi Zichen shrugged. Don't think so much. You don't need to worry about my safety. At most, I'll just lose some points, nothing else. Hurry up and go back. I'll be fine with Aylin following me. Su Yan's eyes were still filled with worry and concern. Then be careful. Don't worry. Yi Zichen waved his hand towards Su Yan, then stretched his neck and looked up at the blue sky. Seriously, it's very similar to Earth. Then, he rubbed his nose and put the point stone away, then walked to a small alley with Aylin. I'm coming. There wasn't a single person in the alley, and it was filled with mud and smelly. Yi Zichen stood at the entrance of the alley. Not long later, a young man in leather walked out. Bro, have you thought it through? I can't give you that much. I can give you 50,000 at most, Yi Zichen frowned. I'll give you the remaining 50,000 after I win. The young man nodded with a smile. No problem. I'll just treat it as making a friend. It's fine even if I don't want the 50,000. Since I already have quite a bit of commission if I pull you over. Yi Zichen's gaze turned dark, then let out a soft sigh. Take me there, now. Chapter 28. If they wanted to earn a large amount of points in a short period of time, there were very few options. There were very few paths that they could take. They could either get rich overnight or engage in a high-risk business. For example, gambling. To be honest, Yi Zichen wasn't particularly supportive of gambling. He'd seen far too many examples of families being ruined because of gambling. Back when he was still in the secular world, he hated gambling to the core. If it wasn't necessary, he wouldn't even bother with it for the rest of his life. Unfortunately, right now, he really had no other choice. They needed a large amount of points. Whether it was the shop Bai wanted to open, or Xia Kiki needed points to ensure her safety, or even their daily expenses, they all needed a large amount of points to sustain themselves. To be honest, after arriving at the ancestral Dragon Clan city, he really didn't feel like 900,000 points was that much. Why did Zhu Ying care so much about it? Why did he send people to steal his points? In the end, he even gave the humans an excuse to send people to monitor the ancestral Dragon Clan's surroundings. That couldn't be. Disregarding everything else, staying in the city cost 1,000 points a day. Although they didn't need much food, they still needed several thousand points to buy snacks to satisfy their appetite. Their daily expenses were in the tens of thousands. 900,000 points would only take 3 months. Was there a need to go through all that trouble? Little did he know, he'd never considered whether or not they were living too extravagantly. Disregarding everything else, just how many of the participating teams dared to spend as much as Yi Zichen's team? They just found a random place to stay. If they really wanted to stay in a hotel, the hotel also provided simple accommodations. 3,000 points was enough for a team of 10 to stay for a month. They didn't need to buy anything either. Not even mentioning the universe level warriors. Even the domain level, or those below the domain level, with Earth's fasting humans, they can use spirit energy or universe energy to maintain their body's needs. That way, a team could live for a month with 3,000 points. 900,000. That was an astronomical number. What's more, there were plenty of teams that lived like that. After all, the trial between Yi Zichen and Karkat had caused more than 80% of the participants to have negative points. They didn't even have points to live for. They were even in debt. What's more, not just anyone could get a loan. You wanted a loan. At the very least, they needed to have goods that could be used as collateral. How many of the trial teams that had come to the ancestral Dragon Clan had teams like Yi Zichen's? Even Shi Hong's team was relatively rare. They didn't have enough weapons, armor, or spirit pills, miraculous medicines, or rare treasures to pawn at that black-hearted heaven and earth trading company. Even if he took out his extra equipment, he could only use it as collateral for a few thousand points. It was just a temporary solution. He couldn't even pay off his debt, let alone open a shop. It would not be an exaggeration to say that many of Her Majesty's and Her Highness teams had started to work within the ancestral Dragon Clan. There were also some groups that might have elders in the clan. He once came to the ancestral Dragon Clan. They also saved some points for their juniors. They used these points to get by, and there weren't many such teams. On the whole, the groups that had come to participate in the trial were not even as comfortable as the ordinary people here who had a lower standard of living. Yi Zichen and company were truly extravagant enough. However, Yi Zichen didn't know about any of that. All he could think about was what Zhu Ying was thinking. If she really didn't want Yi Zichen's team to have any points, they could just directly bring him to the gambling house, do some under-the-table manipulation, and make him lose everything. That way, Yi Zichen would have to spend his points himself. The humans wouldn't be able to find an excuse. What was she thinking about earlier? Yi Zichen muttered to himself. He glanced at the shifty-eyed, squirrel-toothed fellow beside him. He knew very well that this person had been sent by Zhu Ying. Her goal was to make Yi Zichen spend his points in the casino. Since she thought about it now, that meant she wasn't stupid. Why was she so stupid at the start? Really? Yi Zichen didn't even dare imagine it. How could a supreme being be that stupid? Or perhaps it was Zhu Yunshi's own decision, and Zhu Ying didn't tell him to do it? Yi Zichen squinted his eyes and thought of a possibility. But if it really was Zhu Yunshi's greed, where did he get the gall to touch someone from their team? Did he really think he would be safe in the ancestral dragon clan? That wasn't possible. Either that, or Zhu Ying didn't give him a plan. His plan was simple. He'd done it on purpose to toy with Yi Zichen and the others, but he hadn't expected Bai Yu's divine fire to sense his movements and see through him. Then, did Zhu Ying kill him or not? If he did, would that affect Bai Yu's oath to his soul? As Yi Zichen walked toward the casino, his mind filled with various thoughts. Hey, bro, what's your name? I should at least tell someone when I bring you over. At that moment, the shifty-eyed fellow stopped. I'm Nancy. My brothers call me Nan. Yi Zichen, muttered Yi Zichen. Bro, you can't be the one with the idea, right? Nancy, who was walking in front, stopped and asked in a slightly cautious manner. What do you mean? I mean, you can't be from the inspection team, right? The man hesitated for a moment, then looked Yi Zichen up and down with concern. Is there something wrong with you? Yi Zichen couldn't be bothered to indulge him when he heard that he was intentionally looking for trouble. You came looking for me, and you're asking me? I'm here to participate in the trial, Your Majesty. What do you want? Are you trying to cut me some slack? Kid, don't be too greedy, got it? The shifty-eyed fellow frowned. Yi Zichen had seen through him. Who are you talking about? I'm King talking about you. Yi Zichen couldn't be bothered to waste his breath on him. He was just Zhu Ying's dog, yet he was acting all high and mighty. Don't mess with me. I've never had a good temper. If I really did slap you, I'm afraid you'd lose face. Just do your job properly, said Yi Zichen. Once you're greedy, you lose everything. Do you understand? That includes your life. Do you understand? Yi Zichen's gaze was as sharp as knives, causing Nancy to subconsciously freeze. Don't try to trick me. What do you mean by Your Majesty? To put it bluntly, you're just an outsider. Even if you're a dragon, you have to. Before Nancy could finish, Yi Zichen raised his hand and slapped him. Cut the crap. Lead the way. Chapter 28-29. A slap. Nancy was stunned by the slap. He covered his face and looked at Yi Zichen, who was standing less than 2 meters away from him, for a good half a minute before he finally reached out his finger. You. Hey big bro. Yi Zichen grabbed his finger, causing Nancy to follow Yi Zichen's movements and try his best to look in the direction Yi Zichen was pointing. On the streets of the city, many ancestral Dragon Clan residents looked in their direction. Towards the commoners, Nancy's tyrannical and domineering attitude was immediately revealed. What are you looking at? I'll chop your head off if you look one more time. The people who were looking over hurriedly averted their gazes. Nancy then quickly turned her head back with an embarrassed smile on her face. Yi, you're wrong. Heh, I told you to behave. Yi Zichen let go of his finger in disdain. How should he put it? What a despicable person. Nancy, who was let go, didn't hesitate at all. He immediately raised his hand and slapped Yi Zichen. A layer of energy barrier immediately appeared around him. Nancy's hand swelled up, then he looked at Yi Zichen in disbelief. You? How many points do you have? Don't you know how many I have? Yi Zichen smiled. He found Nancy's question rather funny. Didn't Zhu Ying tell you? Zhu Ying? Who's zooing? Nancy glared. You're still pretending? Yizichin kicked Nancy's back with his knee and grabbed his hair. Didn't Zooing tell you to take me to the casino? If you want to go, then hurry up and take me there. You're quite daring, you actually stuck the gas on me. What? Do people like you really want points more than their lives? What Zooing? I don't know him. Nancy shouted. Fine, keep pretending. Yizichin swung his hand and slapped him again. He was getting used to the ancestral dragon clan's rules. Whoever had more points was the lord. More importantly, the person with more points wouldn't feel any pain when he slapped someone else. That's so considerate. You didn't have as many points as I did, so I don't need to feel any burden when I beat you up. Just grit your teeth and hold on. I'll see how long you can hold on. I really don't know who Zooing is. It's your ruling master. Who? Master of ruling? Nancy was stunned for a moment. She tilted her head and stared at him. Did you offend the ruling master? That's impossible. If the ruling master wants to get rid of you, all he needs to do is say the word. And the person who contacted me is a rich merchant. Rich merchant? Yizichin frowned. It's not impossible, Yezi. At that moment, Bailey's voice sounded out in Yizichin's mind. Zhu Ying is the master of judgment, and is the highest commander of the ancestral dragon clan. This Nancy was just a commoner. He probably didn't even know the name of the ruling master. Moreover, if Zhu Ying really wanted to make a move on you, she definitely wouldn't do it herself. After being taught a lesson by Zhu Yunshir last time, she would definitely look for the culprit layer by layer. In the end, it wouldn't be impossible for her to find a rich businessman. Besides, this is just our speculation. It's possible that Zhu Ying didn't do it. Who else could it be if not Zhu Ying? Since Yizichin had just arrived at the ancestral dragon clan, he didn't even see many people, much less make enemies. That I don't know, Bailey replied. Based on Yizichin's estimations, the person who came to cause trouble was definitely that Zhu Ying. Even if it wasn't her, she had to take the blame. However, the others had to be on guard. Who is that merchant? Why should I tell you? Even though Yizichin was stepping on her, Nancy was still as stubborn as ever. I'm telling you, brat, don't use the ruling master to scare me. What kind of existence is the ruling master? How could he care about a small fry like you? Also, if you want to go to the gambling den, then I have to take you there, otherwise you won't be able to go. And then, Yizichin muttered. Hurry up and let go of me right now, then apologize to me with 100 or 200,000, then I'll let it go. Nancy glared at him arrogantly. Nancy glared at him with an arrogant expression. Otherwise, Nancy, have a bit of face in this area. My big brother is not an ordinary person. If you dare to touch me, you won't have a good ending. TSK, TSK, TSK. What a familiar tone. Yizichin even suspected that he had returned to his university days, where he had to negotiate with random people outside the school. Who is your big brother? Master Ba. Nancy snorted and glared at him. Also, don't think you're good just because you have some points in your pocket. There are plenty of people in Liberation Town who have more points than you. Any of the big brothers I know could step on you like stepping on a shrimp. Oh? Yizichin smiled. This feeling was simply too great. Youth. He thought that he would never be able to return to his hot-blooded youth. He didn't expect that he would be able to find it again after coming to the ancestral dragon tribe. Don't talk to me. Hurry up and let go. Otherwise, I'll make sure you can't stay in Liberation Town anymore. Do you believe me? Nancy lay on the ground and shouted. She did not forget to glare at the other commoners and threaten them. Looking at his tyrannical manner, he really did have the attitude of an idle member of society, or in short, a ruffian and stinky hooligan. Do you believe that I can beat you up? Yizichin grinned. This time, there was no need for Nancy to say anything. Yizichin clenched his fist and punched out. After 10 odd minutes, Nancy was beaten black and blue, and even lost 2 of his teeth. Only then did Yi Zichen turn his neck in satisfaction. Youth. I'm back. Thank the ancestral dragon tribe for providing me with such a great place. As a native earthling, he had been in contact with such things all year round, so he was perfectly used to the lifestyle of the ancestral dragon tribe. The other lords might not understand the correct way of living of the ancestral dragon tribe. Yi Zichen understood. That was the correct way of living. Yi Zichen had to thank the ancestral dragon tribe for helping him solve a problem that had been bothering him for a long time. His hands would sometimes hurt when he beat people up. Now there were many people with high levels of wealth to protect your punches and kicks. Does it feel good? Yi Zichen squatted on the ground and reached out his hand towards Nancy to make him look up. Nancy, who had been hammered for a while, finally behaved herself. Perhaps he was afraid of being beaten up. When he saw Yi Zichen's hand, he subconsciously took a step back, while his shoulders trembled. Don't be afraid, I'm a decent person. Yi Zichen patted his shoulders with a smile, then stood up and let out a long sigh. As for me, I'm still very polite when there's mutual respect. Do you understand what I mean? Is that right? Chapter 28:30. On the streets of the ancestral Dragon Clan city. Nancy, a native of the ancestral Dragon Clan, relying on his arrogance, he did as he pleased in the city. He could be considered a little demon king. He bullied the commoners. Occasionally, he would go to the shops in the city to collect protection fees. Even though he wasn't very rich, he was still living a comfortable life. Most importantly, he had a capable person behind him, his big brother, Lord Scar. Lord Scar's name was quite famous in Liberation City. With this powerful backer, Nancy did very well in Liberation City. He could bully anyone he wanted. No one dared to bully him. Unfortunately, he seemed to have run into someone even worse. No matter who he mentioned, it was useless. If anyone dared to say anything tough, he would beat them up. He used his own face. He deeply imprinted Yi Zichen in his heart. Really, don't get too full of yourself. Even Nancy, who had already started leading the way for Yi Zichen, was still spitting out insults. To be honest, Yi Zichen was starting to doubt his brain. He really wasn't afraid of getting punched and kicked again. Stubborn. Fortunately, Yi Zichen didn't bother with him this time. He simply followed behind him as if he hadn't heard anything. About half an hour later, Yi Zichen and company arrived at the west side of the city from the east. The ancestral Dragon Clan actually had simple transportation facilities. Even under such circumstances, Nancy still insisted on taking him with her instead of taking public transportation. Yi Zichen didn't know where the gambling den was. He thought it was very close to where he'd gone to find Nancy. He didn't expect to walk for so long. Are we there or not? Don't try to play tricks with me. Be careful, or I'll beat you up again. Yi Zichen frowned in annoyance. Seeing him raise his hand, Nancy quickly shrunk his neck. We're almost there. When we get to the gambling den, just you wait. I'll definitely go back and find my big brother. You won't have a good time. Nancy shrunk his neck timidly, but his mouth refused to admit defeat. Perhaps, in his dictionary, he didn't know how to judge the situation. A wise man submits to circumstances. Right now, Yi Zichen clearly had the initiative. Yet he was still stubborn. Wasn't that asking for a beating? You must have taken quite a beating. Yi Zichen let out a deep sigh. Fine, I can't be bothered to bicker with you. If you want to, then go ahead. Just wait and see if I'll beat him up or not. All right. Just you wait. Nancy glared at him fiercely and pointed at a grocery store. We're here. Right here? Yi Zichen felt a bit surprised when Nancy mentioned the place. According to what Nancy had said at the beginning, she was afraid. He had thought it would be in a very secluded position. Who would have thought that it was facing the street? What's more, Yi Zichen and company had come to this store before and even looked around. It was just an ordinary grocery store, selling some daily necessities. Don't play tricks with me. I've been here before. Yi Zichen frowned, then grabbed Nancy by the collar. You're not being honest, are you? I think you really haven't been beaten enough. This is it. Nancy gulped when she saw Yi Zichen's gaze. You must have an acquaintance to come here. If you don't, you won't be able to enter at all. Are you sure? For some reason, Yi Zichen didn't believe Nancy's words. An acquaintance? Could it be that there was a referral system for this casino? Hiding in the city? But when they came to this shop, it wasn't like they didn't go upstairs to take a look. It didn't look like a casino at all. Follow me. Nancy put on a serious face, then stiffened her neck and walked in. The moment he entered the shop, he grabbed the door. She locked Yi Zichen outside. By the time Yi Zichen pushed open the door and entered, Nancy had already run to the back door of the grocery store, pointed at Yi Zichen's face and shouted, "Little bastard, just you wait. Grandpa will kill you." With that, Nancy hurriedly dashed off. It was as if she were running on wind and fire, not giving Yi Zichen any chance to chase after her. The clerk was completely shocked. She silently looked at Nancy, who ran away, and Yi Zichen, who was standing in front of the door. "What do you want to buy?" "Ugh." Yi Zichen also scratched his head. "Is this a casino?" Yi Zichen strolled on the streets of Liberation City. In the end, he was tricked. Nancy didn't take him to a casino at all. It was just as he had thought. The grocery store was just a grocery store. It didn't have any other business. That little bastard. Yi Zichen was rather annoyed that he didn't manage to go to the casino. He had already said it. If there were no surprises, then you should have already signed a contract with the owner of the store. A deposit of 1.5 million points. I can't really just throw it to him like that, right? Could it be that I was too harsh on Nancy? Yi Zichen did miss his youth, so he didn't hold back. However, this grandson was truly an idiot, and didn't act according to the rules. All he wanted to do was run. He didn't think about throwing Yi Zichen to the casino, then he would go and find Yi Zichen. Wouldn't it be more convenient to find Yi Zichen like that? How should I deal with it now? Yi Zichen frowned and felt troubled. Even if the deal doesn't work out, there's still kindness. Aren't you a bit too much? At that moment, a shout sounded out in Yi Zichen's ears. When he looked up, he saw a woman in tattered clothes not far away in front of him. Her hair was as dry as straw, and her face seemed to have not been washed for a long time. She was pushed out of the store by someone with a sullen expression. She spat at the person who pushed her out, then rolled her eyes as if she was searching for a target. Not long later, Yi Zichen saw her find a young man. "Do you want to buy underwear? It's very cheap. *CK me." Yi Zichen's ears were very good, so he heard the woman's words clearly. The young man, who was dragged by him, looked at her. Then, he pushed her away with a curse. "What kind of people are you? If it wasn't because I, Blue Lotus Fairy, don't have any gambling money, you guys wouldn't be able to buy underwear in your entire lives. Now that I'm selling it cheap, you guys still don't want it. You guys don't know what's good for you." The woman spat, then glared at Yi Zichen as if she noticed his gaze. "What are you looking at? I'll dig your eyes out." Meow meow. "You're in such a hurry with other people, why are you throwing a tantrum with me?" However, Yi Zichen seemed to have heard her mutter about the gambling money. "Beauty." Yi Zichen thought about it for a while, then ran up and patted her shoulder. Hearing the word beauty, Blue Lotus Fairy smiled in satisfaction. "You have pretty good taste." "What? You eavesdropped just now, right? You want to buy underwear? I'll give you a 20% discount just because you called me a beauty. How about 8,000 points? Chapter 28:31. This big sister. Was there something wrong with her brain? He recommended it to everyone he met. Who could withstand this? Who here wasn't a gentleman? Why would they buy this lousy thing for no reason? Besides, you really want to sell it. He should at least tidy up a little. Her hair was as dry as straw, and her face wasn't round at all. Her fingers were long and slender, but there wasn't the slightest hint of a woman's luster. All in all, the impression was too bad. Moreover, she had just given a 20% discount for 8,000 points, which meant that she would have to pay 10,000 points normally. Living in a dream? Beauty, don't misunderstand. I'm not here to buy your things. Yi Zichen smiled wryly. In an instant, the smile on Blue Lotus Fairy's face disappeared. Then why are you pulling me? Are you crazy? Go away, don't disturb my business. Blue Lotus Fairy shooed Yi Zichen away like a fly, while she searched for a target on the street. Do you know where the gambling den is? If you bring me there, I'll give you 10,000. Whoosh. Blue Lotus, who had already walked 10-odd meters away, returned in front of Yi Zichen like an afterimage. Is that true? Absolutely. Hearing Blue Lotus Fairy's words, Yi Zichen knew that she definitely knew. All right, I'll pay first. Sure. Looking at this person's appearance, he didn't look like someone with a lot of points. Even if he gave her 10,000 points, she might not be able to escape from Yi Zichen. Having learned his lesson from Nancy last time, he had to keep a close eye on her this time. The ancestral dragon clan did a good job in handing over the points. After comparing the points of the other party, he could transfer the points here. It was quite similar to the QR code used on Earth. Received 10,000 points. Blue Lotus Deity was so excited that she was about to fly. She held onto the point stone and stared straight ahead. Watch how I turn the tables. He felt like a gambler. He had lost quite a bit. Come with me, we can go together. Blue Lotus Fairy clapped her hands, then raised her eyebrows towards Yi Zichen. I didn't expect to meet someone like me. How are your gambling skills? Does this thing still need skills? Yi Zichen was stunned for a moment. Gambling relied on either luck or luck. What did it have to do with one's skills? A newbie. All of a sudden, Blue Lotus Fairy glanced at Yi Zichen. When you're on the gambling table, it's obviously a competition of skills. Otherwise, you'll lose to death. The people in that casino aren't simple. I see that you're also a rookie. How about this? How many points do you have to gamble? I'll play for you. I guarantee that you'll make a fortune. Forget it. Yi Zichen pouted. If the Blue Lotus Fairy was really as ruthless as she said, then she wouldn't have ended up like this. TCH, you have no taste. Blue Lotus Fairy angrily swings her hand. Look at me now, my luck just hasn't turned for the better yet. If luck really comes, no one can stop me. Then why did you take it from me? It's coming. Fairy Blue Lotus grins. I have a very strong feeling that I will definitely be able to kill everyone today. If you give it to me, it'll be your investment and financial management. I guarantee that you'll make a profit. Faced with Blue Lotus Fairy's crazy promotion, Yi Zichen tactfully shut his mouth and did not reply. Seeing that Yi Zichen did not reply for a while, Blue Lotus Fairy also knew that Yi Zichen definitely couldn't give his points to her. She thought about it for a while. AI, little handsome guy, do you need a girlfriend? Blue Lotus Fairy rolled her eyes. If you do, then I'll need 50,000 to be your girlfriend for a day. You can do whatever you want to me then. As she spoke, Blue Lotus Fairy blinked crazily. It was as if she was trying to seduce Yi Zichen. Big sis, can you go and look at yourself in the mirror? Yi Zichen was annoyed by Blue Lotus Fairy's words. Look at yourself right now. Do you think you can promote yourself? Let's not talk about anything else, but when you promote the original flavor, you should at least dress yourself up a bit. Also, aren't you being too shameless? Listen to what you just said. Blue Lotus Fairy was speechless. If I had those points, would I need to sell the original flavor? Would I need to be shameless? If you don't want to rent it, then don't rent it. I'm telling you, if you don't rent it, then go and regret it. If I tidy up properly, then I'm a sky deity. Even that 9-tailed fox Wan Li of the human race isn't as good as me. Yi Zichen merely chuckled in response. "Ai, brat, who's the richest in this city?" Blue Lotus Fairy asked as she walked. "I'm not from here." "You're not?" Blue Lotus Fairy was stunned for a moment, then understood. "That's true. If you are, then you wouldn't need to ask me where the gambling den is. Then who's the richest in your city? Bring me over. I'll get some points from him, then I'll share some with you." "Oh my God! Just what kind of person is this? Seriously. She's a rather big girl. No, there's no way someone like her can be a virgin. She really has no shame at all. No sense of propriety. TSK. I'm not from the ancestral dragon clan. I came here to participate in a trial." "Oh?" Blue Lotus Fairy, who was walking in front, stopped when she heard that. "You're Her Majesty." "Yes." "Hey lad, so you're a Majesty," Blue Lotus Fairy said proudly. "What a coincidence. I also came from the outside world. I was invited here by the ancestral dragon clan to teach you little fellows the laws of the universe." Teacher? You're a sovereign? That's right. Older sister is the famous Blue Lotus sovereign. I'm currently at the 7th level of the supremacy realm. If it wasn't because the ancestral dragon clan invited me too quickly, I would have become an overlord in another 300 years. Blue Lotus Fairy smiled proudly. Fairy Blue Lotus smiled proudly. "Don't be too restrained, I'm quite down to earth. You can call me Fairy Blue Lotus." "Wow, you're actually Blue Lotus Fairy. Yo, could it be that you're my little fan?" Blue Lotus Fairy was shocked when she saw Yi Zichen's shocked expression. "That's true. It's normal for a little fellow like you to fall for me with my talent and looks. Since you're my fan, then you're not willing to let me rent you 50,000 for a day? You can do whatever you want to your idol today. I also know how to cosplay. If you think that my current appearance is unacceptable, then I can tidy up a bit. Lad, renting is a profit. You won't get another chance like this if you miss this opportunity." Blue Lotus Fairy raised her eyebrows with a smile, then bumped Yi Zichen's arm. "Yi Zichen, this is actually a method to promote myself? And cosplay? Regardless of whether this person is truly a sovereign or not, although Yi Zichen reckons that she most likely isn't. She's shameless. Seriously, she's too shameless. Who could take her away?" Yi Zichen really couldn't take it anymore. Chapter 2832. If it wasn't because he needed Blue Lotus Fairy to lead the way to the gambling den, Yi Zichen really didn't want to interact with this shameless woman for another second. Too shameless. The journey only took 10-something minutes. All sorts of promotions, as if she had been through a lot, caused Yi Zichen's scalp to tingle. "Are you a blockhead?" Blue Lotus Fairy felt a bit annoyed when she saw that Yi Zichen didn't fall for it. She already said it so blatantly. "Do whatever you want." That was enough of a thrill when she said it. Yet Yi Zichen wasn't moved at all. "Do I have to strip naked for you to see before you can make a decision?" Blue Lotus Fairy frowned. "If you really want to inspect the goods first, that's fine. How about we find a hotel? CK me. Can someone come and take this woman away, or tell her to shut her mouth? I really can't take it anymore. Say something." Blue Lotus Fairy frowned. "Do you still need to find a hotel for someone as shameless as you? Just strip on the street." Yi Zichen twitched his mouth. "That's so embarrassing, I'm so shy." Yet, Blue Lotus Fairy, who had always been shameless, still revealed a shy expression. She pinched her fingers and blinked coquettishly. "There are so many people." "Heh! Hurry up and retract your divine abilities," Yi Zichen rolled his eyes. "You're already quite an adult, yet you don't have any sense of propriety at all. Don't you feel embarrassed? He's attacking me." Blue Lotus Deity frowned and said, "What use is propriety when I don't have any money? Are people giving me points for free when I act all high and mighty? Aren't you just relying on the points you have? Why don't you try if you don't have points? Can you survive in this shitty place?" "Oh." Yi Zichen shrugged silently. He couldn't be bothered to argue with Blue Lotus Fairy. Yi Zichen tilted his head and looked around. Since a few minutes ago, the flow of people seemed to have increased by quite a bit. What's more, he noticed that these people all came out from the direction they were at. Some of them were grinning from ear to ear, while others looked at their hands with a gloomy gaze. Looking at the buildings here, it was a bit like the old city. According to his memories from the secular world on Earth, such a place was most likely the location of the gambling den. The gambling den was around here, and it was very likely. Are we almost at the casino? Soon. Blue Lotus Fairy muttered unwillingly as she touched the point crystal in her hand. 10,000 points wouldn't even be enough for her to break even. During this period of time, she had lost quite a lot of money in the gambling house. She didn't dare to go all in with 10,000 yuan, and it would be a waste of time to throw in a few hundred yuan. She just wanted to get more capital. Even if he threw in 10,000 points, he could still make a comeback. If that wasn't the case, she wouldn't have said all that shamelessly to Yi Zichen. Of course, she didn't mean to do whatever she wanted. If you want to do whatever you want, you have to give me points first. After giving him the points, he would find an opportunity to sneak away. In any case, she did not need to show any mercy to those who harbored evil intentions towards her. As for the original flavors she sold, they were all fake. Where was she going to get so many original flavors? What a pity. Yi Zichen refused to fall for her words. Could it be? He had met a gentleman. It can't be. As the saying goes, a gentleman is usually a hypocritical person. Yi Zichen looked like a gentleman, but he was actually a hypocritical beast in human clothing. All he thought about in his heart were despicable things. If you really aren't going to buy me, take me to the gambling house and promise not to say a single word on the way. I can give you another 10,000. Yi Zichen could only endure the pain in order to get some peace. All of a sudden, Blue Lotus Fairy covered her mouth with her hand and made a zipping motion, then reached out her hand to invite Yi Zichen to walk forward. Approximately 2 minutes later, Yi Zichen and company arrived at the depths of an alley and could hear shouts from far away. We're here, we're here. Blue Lotus Fairy giggled as she walked into the courtyard in front of them. When she pushed open the door, she saw several bulky men beating up a man. F***CK. You dare to come without paying up? Do you really think that we're blind and can't tell that you're wearing a mask? Beat him up. I'll take care of him, a mustached man shouted from afar. A man with a mustache shouted. When he saw Blue Lotus Fairy, his face immediately flushed red as he rubbed his hands and walked over. Blue Lotus Fairy, why did you come? I'm preparing to go on a rampage this time. She was the rich owner of the gambling house. Even though she was in tatters, she was very generous when she spent money in the gambling house. Most importantly, her luck was terrible. She practically had to throw out several 100,000 every single time. The gambling house wanted her to win once through underhanded means, but she ended up losing every single time. Yet, she kept losing. Sometimes, the sea would occasionally bring some new customers over, causing the gambling house's performance to increase by several times. Stay away. Blue Lotus Fairy, who had been shameless with Yi Zichen the entire time, actually frowned when she saw the mustached man, and even took a few steps back. It's open? Of course it's open since you came. The mustached man smiled, revealing a mouthful of yellow teeth. The mustachioed man grinned, revealing a mouthful of yellow teeth. Please come inside. Make sure you don't bleed all over. The mustached man smiled. Blue Lotus Fairy nodded, then walked in. Yi Zichen also followed Blue Lotus Fairy into the gambling house. Keep an eye on that brat, he's most likely someone with points. Let's rip him off. The mustachioed man rubbed his chin, and a few of his men understood and ran over. Open, open, open. The courtyard was actually a very normal courtyard. The real gambling house wasn't in the manor, but underneath the manor. The moment they entered, although it wasn't a mess, the environment wasn't much better either. We're here. You can give me the points you promised, right? Blue Lotus Fairy took out the point stone. Yi Zichen wasn't a dishonest person, so he transferred 10,000 to her. I hope the boss has fun. Blue Lotus Fairy cupped her hands, then ran out excitedly while holding the points. This time, she didn't directly sit at the table, and instead ran outside. Are you showing off again? If you don't pay up, do you think that no one will take care of you after I leave? I'll take care of you myself. The mustached man continued to hit the man. Blue Lotus Fairy frowned. Mustached man. Blue Lotus Fairy, why did you come out? The mustached man walked over with a smile once again. Did you see the brat I brought over just now? I did. Don't say that I didn't remind you, he's a good gambler. Blue Lotus Fairy pretended to be serious. Fairy Blue Lotus pretended to be deep in thought and said, this kid's gambling skills are rather strong. One of our human race's majesties is a famous gambler in the human race. He can gamble, knows how to gamble, and dares to gamble. Oh? We're old acquaintances, so I'll tell you the truth. He has 200 million in his hands. Do you know what that means? Chapter 28:33. 200 million. The mustachioed man trembled when he heard that. This kind of number was practically unheard of in Liberation City. Even the rich merchants in the city might not have 200 million in liquid funds. Fairy, why did you invite this kind of ancestor? The mustachioed man was shocked. When the ancestral dragon clan opened a casino, the most taboo was people with a lot of points. They did like people with a lot of points. The more points they had, the more they would lose. But if they had too much, and the casino couldn't handle it, then it would be a huge problem. If he really lost, if he didn't give points, the casino wouldn't be able to handle it. If he won, even if the casino wanted to scam him back, they wouldn't dare to. Aren't I helping your business? It's 200 million. If you can take it, then wouldn't it be like this in Liberation City? Blue Lotus Fairy gave him a thumbs up. Actually, she was just making things up. Yi Zichen had only known her for less than an hour, so how could she know how many points Yi Zichen had? As for being able to gamble and daring to gamble, she was just making things up. What was it for? Of course, she had her own motives. Fairy, stop messing around. This is an ancestor, how can I hold myself back? The mustachioed man frowned, then frowned. That's not right, Fairy. He just came from outside. How could he have 200 million points? What do you think? Blue Lotus Fairy asked back. I don't know. Of course it's from a loan. Blue Lotus Fairy shook her head in disdain. Blue Lotus Fairy shook her head with a look of disdain. Do you know that a few highnesses came to Liberation City a few days ago? When they came, there were a few hundred divine artifacts. Yes, could it be? It's him. Blue Lotus Fairy continued to make things up. She definitely didn't know Yi Zichen's identity. She was just making her lie sound more reasonable. That way it would be easier for her to follow up. What she didn't expect was that Yi Zichen really was a member of the group she mentioned. He brought so many divine artifacts just to get a loan. I've used all my money on loans since the first day I arrived. It's all for the sake of moving some funds for gambling. This lord. The mustachioed man seemed to be truly scared, and couldn't help but rub his hands, not knowing what to do. Let me tell you. He's a famous gambling master of the human race. He got his hundreds of divine tools from gambling. Before he came to the human race, he even said that he would increase the number of divine artifacts in his possession by 10 times. He even wanted to get a creation artifact. Mustache man, you know, if he really wants to achieve it, how many points would he need? Can your casino afford it? Blue Lotus Fairy threatened in a serious tone. There were actually quite a lot of points in the casino. They were all left here by the boss behind him for liquidity. Does not belong to anyone. This was how the money was used. Whoever won would automatically transfer it to the other party's point stone. If he lost, the points would flow into the casino's reserve bank. This was also what all the gambling dens in the ancestral dragon clan were doing. It was the same for all gambling dens. To put it simply, there was a huge pool of points in the casino. When one gambled, their points would automatically flow into the pool. If he lost, the points would be swallowed by the pool, and if he won, the pool would automatically return him the corresponding points. Their casino had about 500 million points in their pool. But if he wanted to increase the number of divine tools by 10 times, he still needed a creation artifact. That was definitely not enough. Furthermore, why was he thinking about this? The casino was for profit, not for charity. Fairy, can you get rid of this lord? Mustache Man grinned. If I could, why would I bring him here? Blue Lotus Fairy instantly frowned. Our relationship is so strong, why would I harm you? He insisted on coming here to gamble. Maybe you were unlucky and got targeted by him first. After winning all of you here, he would move on to the next one. However, if he won all of you, you probably have a lot of responsibility as well. Yes. So, why don't we work together? Blue Lotus Fairy smiled. How do we work together? I will make him lose. Fairy Blue Lotus narrowed her eyes proudly. This guy is very obedient. He'll bet whatever I tell him to bet. I can make him lose everything here. Oh, he listens to you? Mustache Man said in surprise. He has a crush on me. Blue Lotus Fairy rubbed her eyebrows and said softly, he chased me back in the human race. However, you know that I'm a knight and he's just a universe level. How could I possibly like him? I'm annoyed that he chases me every day. I thought he could have some peace and quiet at the ancestral dragon clan, but he actually bribed the upper echelon of the Mercenary Alliance and bought the position of Majesty. That's not right. Suddenly, Mustache Man's gaze changed. If I remember correctly, that team with a few hundred god weapons is the Milky Way Leaders team, Majesty of the Virtual World Corporation. You? Damn. Hearing this, Blue Lotus Fairy was stunned. The information wasn't complete. There was a mistake. My bad, it just slipped my tongue. I'm more familiar with the Mercenary Alliance, so I always talk about them. Blue Lotus Fairy smiled. He's that Milky Way leader, one of the strongest connections of our human race. The head of the Virtual World Corporation, Wan Li, the head of the Universe Union Bank, Blue Emperor, and the Milky Way leader are all his backers. You don't even like this? Mustache Man laughed. At this moment, he no longer had the panic from before. Instead, he looked at Blue Lotus Fairy with ridicule. Can I like someone with connections? If he wants to capture me, Blue Lotus Fairy, why can't he be an unparalleled hero? He is nothing. Blue Lotus Fairy had a look of disdain. Anyway, he chased me all the way here. I'm annoyed by him, so I want to teach him a lesson. That's great. I'll wait for Blue Lotus Fairy's good news. I'll let you earn for free. Can't you let me earn some? Blue Lotus Fairy said softly. 200 million, I want 2 million. That's not too much, right? If Blue Lotus Fairy can really let my gambling den earn 200 million, I can even give you 5 million. Mustache Man said heroically. That's so embarrassing. Blue Lotus Fairy hesitated before taking out the point stone. I'll pay first. It's not that I don't believe you, it's, do you think I believe you? Suddenly, Mustache Man's face sunk. Stupid bitch, do you really think I'm an idiot? Do you think I'm an idiot? While speaking, Mustache Man gave that guy a kick. Damn Milky Way Overlord. 200 million points. Why don't you take a look at yourself in the mirror? Are you even worthy of this kind of person chasing you? Seeing that you're a big client, I'll give you face. Just continue to hold on. Don't be so shameless. Mustache Man spat. If you want to gamble, I welcome you here anytime. If you think I'm an idiot and want to cheat me, you better. Suddenly, a muscular man ran out of the gambling den. That kid has won close to 10 million. Chapter 28:34. Who won 10 million? The first person the mustache man thought of when he heard the news was Yi Zichen. However, he didn't dare to be certain before he confirmed it. It's the one that Blue Lotus Fairy brought over. The mustache man's subordinate did not hide anything from Blue Lotus Fairy. The man with the handlebar mustache did not hide anything from Blue Lotus Fairy and said, "This guy immediately bet 300,000. After winning, he bet 500,000. Up until now, he has bet a total of 4 times and has already won around 10 million. How much? Say that again? The mustache man, who was mocking Blue Lotus Fairy a second ago, immediately froze when he heard his subordinate's words. How long has it been? Was it even 5 minutes after I went in? 10 million? How did he do it? Even Blue Lotus Fairy found it hard to believe. 10 million? She was just blabbering nonsense just now. All she wanted was to get back her capital from the mustache man. At most, she wouldn't come to this casino anymore. She didn't have a good impression of this casino to begin with. She always felt that her luck was bad, and that it was all because of this casino's manipulation that she lost so badly. As long as she could get back her capital, she would run away with her little disciple. She would run away with her little disciple. She did not believe that these people from the gambling house could do anything to her. What's more, it didn't matter even if they caught her. Her teacher, who came to the ancestral dragon clan to teach, was an invited sovereign. Could the ancestral dragon clan just ignore her? However, she never would have thought that the brat actually won. And won 10 million? 10 million! The subordinate mustered up his courage and muttered. The mustache man's breathing turned heavy. See, I told you already, Blue Lotus Fairy shrugged. Fairy Blue Lotus shrugs her shoulders. That fellow really knows how to gamble, yet you still suspect me. Let's go in and take a look. The mustache man ignored Blue Lotus Fairy's attempt to hide it, and charged into the underground casino with his subordinate. Fairy Blue Lotus was directly left outside. The skinny man who was beaten to the point of being covered in blood thought that he was saved, but before he could even heave a sigh of relief, a black figure suddenly appeared in front of him. He looked up, and under his blurry vision, Blue Lotus Fairy was standing right in front of him. What do you think? I can be considered your savior, right? Shouldn't you be a little more considerate towards your savior? Fairy Blue Lotus squints her eyes as she smiles. Of course, I'm not the type to bully people. If you don't want to give it to me, it doesn't matter. I will watch over you until they return. If you're sensible, I might pretend that I don't know anything. Think about it carefully. With that said, Fairy Blue Lotus sat on a rock not far away. You have to be quick. They might be back soon. You don't want to be beaten to death, right? Don't tell me you don't have points. I've seen too many people like you. Even if your point stones have been stolen, I believe you must still have other stashes. I don't need much. 30,000 will do. Fairy Blue Lotus spoke with fervor and assurance. The man tied to the wooden stake remained silent for a long time. I'll give you. The mustached man still does not know that Blue Lotus Fairy has already reached some kind of agreement with the person who was tied up outside. Even if he knew, he couldn't do anything about it. That person only owes them 150,000. What's more, he also stole his point stones, so he only owes them 150,000. That bit of points compared to Yi Zichen's tens of millions. There was no comparison at all. The mustached man hurried over. Their casino's first and second floor had been emptied out, so he, who stood on the first floor, was able to see the situation below. Boss, over there. His subordinate pointed, then saw Yi Zichen standing outside the screen, waiting to place his bet. Boss! Someone immediately ran towards the mustached man the moment he entered the casino. That brat already won 20 million. Plenty of people in the casino started to gamble with him. Right now, our casino has already lost 40 million something. Hearing his subordinate report the numbers, the mustached man felt like the world was spinning. He had managed the casino for so many years. Although there were times when it was losing money, it was definitely profitable overall. He could ignore it if it was just a few million. The casino would be able to earn 10 million every day just by taking in the points of the casual customers. But he directly lost 40 million just like that. He might even lose even more later. How could he endure it? Could it be that what Blue Lotus Fairy said was true? Is this guy really that good at gambling? But no matter how good he is, it shouldn't be to the point where he didn't lose even once, right? There was only one possibility: he cheated. He's cheating. Did you find out if he did anything? The mustached man frowned and asked softly. No, the subordinate shook his head. The underling shook his head and said, this guy's betting is too much. No matter how much he won last time, he just threw it all in. That's why we started to pay attention to him the third time. However, he didn't do anything. Our dealers also paid attention to their dice. How is that possible? He can keep winning without cheating? Does he really have X-ray vision that allows him to see what's inside? If he can't see, then how can he win? Leopard bets 5 million. All of a sudden, a commotion occurred downstairs. Yi Zichen frowned, then transferred 5 million points into the point bank. Hearing that, the mustached man's head trembled. The surrounding gamblers, who originally wanted to follow Yi Zichen to win, were a bit hesitant when they saw her bet like that. However, most of them still believed in him and also threw in around 1 million something. Don't be leopard, don't be leopard. The mustached man prayed upstairs. Open! 333 leopard. Dong. Seeing that, the mustached man nearly fell onto the ground. Leopard's 10 times odds. 5 million meant that he directly lost 50 million. The surrounding gamblers were all shocked when they saw that. Those who won all worshipped Yi Zichen like a god. When the others who didn't bet looked towards Yi Zichen, envy filled their eyes. Just like that, he directly earned 50 million. What's more, those who followed him also earned a few million. One had to understand. These points were already not a small number in the ancestral dragon clan. 10 million. It was definitely no problem for them to live in peace in the ancestral dragon clan for 100 years. OL 6 you go. The mustached man grabbed the railing and frowned. Go and meet him personally. F***CK we can't let him continue like this. If he throws in 50 million, then the entire casino will be his. Boss do. OL 6 frowned. Do. The mustached man frowned. This person is too strange. You have the best skills in our casino, so you'll play with him. These points. We can't let him take them away no matter what. Chapter 28:35. Seriously, Yi Zichen was liking the ancestral dragon clan more and more. From the architecture of the city to the cultural atmosphere, even standing in the gambling house, nothing made him nod in dissatisfaction. Especially the gambling house here. It was really convenient. If you want to place a bet, you only need to scan the prize pool of the casino. The prize pool was at the entrance of the casino. A staff member will tell you how to proceed with the binding process. After that, all you need to do is scan what you currently want to bet. Once you win, your points will be instantly transferred to your point stone. Compared to when they were in the secular world, you need to exchange for chips or you can play dirty. If you win, you won't get any money. This place was much better. In short, it was convenient. Furthermore, there were no swindlers in the casino. Those dealers did what they were supposed to do. It was just a matter of luck. At that moment, Yi Zichen was truly suspicious. How could Blue Lotus Fairy lose so terribly? How unfortunate was she? He even said that the people here were all skilled. If one didn't know how to gamble, one would lose everything here. It was all a lie. It's all fake. Yi Zichen even suspected that even an idiot could earn money here. As long as he wasn't greedy. Many gamblers were too greedy. After winning, they wanted to win more. After losing, they wanted to recoup their losses. In the end, it was like drawing water with a sieve. In just a short while he had earned about 70 million yuan. Yi Zichen pondered for a moment. It was about time for him to leave. These points were already enough for them to use. Sir, you really are a god. The people who had placed their bets with Yi Zichen all looked towards Yi Zichen respectfully. They were all old gamblers. He had been in the casino for a long time. Although he could occasionally earn some points, he lost more than he won. This was the first time they felt that winning money was so easy. He didn't need to be as nervous as before. If he followed a big shot like Yi Zichen, he was guaranteed to profit. Let's all earn it together. The gambling den has won so much from us, we should get some of it back. Yi Zichen grinned, while the surrounding people all agreed with him. Mr. is right. Sir, this time we'll bet with you on what we bet. The person who had just opened the leopard didn't follow the bet. They all secretly beat their chests and stamped their feet. Why am I so cowardly? I didn't follow Yi Zichen any further. If they went down, they could all go home safely. None of them were willing to give up. They wanted to win against Yi Zichen and the others again. I don't want to play anymore. Quit while you're ahead. This was Yi Zichen's way of doing things. If they won too much, the gamblers would be happy, but the people in the gambling house would definitely be gloomy. He didn't want any trouble yet. It was best to take advantage of the fact that no one seemed to be looking for him and slip away as quickly as possible. Sir, please come back next time. The gamblers blocked Yi Zichen and did not let him leave at all. Yi Zichen thought about it for a moment, then shrugged as he looked at the surrounding gamblers. I can't guarantee that I'll definitely win. I think my luck has reached its limit. If I continue to gamble, I might lose. Don't worry, we believe you. The gamblers did not care about that at all. They merely wanted Yi Zichen to place another bet. Meanwhile, Blue Lotus Fairy, who had just returned from the outside, also happened to see this scene. What's going on? All of the gamblers in the gambling house surrounded Yi Zichen and worshipped him like a god. What was going on? Did he win again? She had just gotten 30,000 from the skinny guy outside. Including Yi Zichen's 20,000, she had 50,000, so she wanted to try it out. From the looks of it, Yi Zichen is way too popular right now. Blue Lotus Fairy. The mustached man appeared behind her. Blue Lotus Fairy, who was paying attention to Yi Zichen's situation, was shocked by the sudden voice. What is it? You scared me to death. Blue Lotus Fairy, I was too serious just now. Please be magnanimous. The mustached man smiled honestly. Blue Lotus Fairy couldn't help but raise her eyebrows when she saw his expression. What is it? It seems like this pursuer of mine caused quite a bit of trouble for you. Yes. The mustached man did not deny it and merely shrugged. To tell you the truth, this friend of yours has already won almost 80 million from us. Is that so? Blue Lotus Fairy's heart skipped a beat when she heard that number. However, she still maintained her casual expression and pretended to be relaxed. That's actually not much. When he was in the human race, he won a few 100 billion primal chaos at most. Do you know the unit of primal chaos? One primal chaos is equivalent to one universe coin. This universe coin is equivalent to 1 point here. 80 million. It's just a warm-up. Fairy Blue Lotus continued to spout nonsense. How much Yi Zichen won had nothing to do with her. However, if she could use this to get her points back, then that would be perfect. How is it? Do you need me to give you some help? Although you spoke rudely towards me back then, I am still willing to help you. It's because I hate that brat as well. However, your attitude back then was very bad, I really don't like it. For million, I'll make him lose all his points here. Ha! The mustached man suddenly laughed. Blue Lotus Fairy, you really are right. I do need your help. Although you said that 80 million is just an appetizer, our gambling house is just a small gambling house, we really can't take that kind of loss. Then give me the money, Blue Lotus Fairy shrugged. Blue Lotus Fairy shrugs her shoulders. Give me 4 million and I will make him lose. We're all friends, helping each other is something we should do. I can give you the points. The mustached man squinted his eyes and smiled. The mustached man squinted his eyes and smiled. That's right, I need you to cooperate with me. No problem, as long as there are points, I will definitely cooperate. Blue Lotus Fairy's eyes shone brightly as she waited for the mustached man to state his conditions. No matter what it was, I'll just agree. When I get the points, I can't be bothered with anything else, I'll just run away. What else could I do? Am I really going to let Yi Zichen lose? That's if he can listen to me. What's more, Blue Lotus Fairy didn't want her relationship with Yi Zichen to worsen. This guy seems to know how to gamble, I can learn a thing or two from him, then I won't have to worry about food in the future. If you can cooperate, then that would be for the best. The mustached man smiled, then made a gesture. Immediately, several people rushed out of the gambling den and surrounded Blue Lotus Fairy, who was still on the first floor and had yet to go down to the second floor. What are you doing? Blue Lotus Fairy frowned. Blue Lotus Fairy, please suffer a bit and be our hostage. The mustached man laughed softly, then frowned. The mustached man chuckled, then frowned and said, "Detain her." Chapter 28:36. Inside the gambling den, a few staff came from all directions and grabbed Blue Lotus Fairy's arm. Blue Lotus Fairy, who was still waiting for the points, was stunned. She did not resist, but looked curiously at the mustache man. "Why are you grabbing me, Blue Lotus Fairy? I'm sorry." The mustache man shrugged. The losses of the gambling den must be compensated. Of course I believe what you said about letting him lose 200 million here, but I believe in myself more. What are you talking about? Hurry up and transfer the money. Blue Lotus Fairy acted as if she did not understand the mustache man's words, her eyes filled with impatience. If you don't transfer, the price will increase. Blue Lotus Fairy, have you not reacted yet? The mustache man squinted his eyes and laughed. I want to use you to exchange for points with the Milky Way Lord. Of course, after I get it, I can give you the promised 4 million. I am still very sincere in this aspect. Huh! Blue Lotus Fairy, who was grabbed, was startled. I was kidnapped? I was kidnapped. Are you trying to kidnap me? Blue Lotus Fairy seemed to have only just reacted, staring at the mustache man and his subordinate. Don't make it sound so serious. I just want to ask you to appear when we need you, in exchange for the corresponding points from the Milky Way Lord. Don't worry, we will not harm you. The mustache man replied charmingly. Blue Lotus Fairy did not take all of this to heart. You guys are really capable. Forget it, this is my first time being kidnapped. Let me experience the feeling of being kidnapped. Right now I am very important to you guys, right? The staff of the gambling den were all stunned. There are such people. They have done kidnapping quite a few times. Those people they met were crying and begging for mercy, some were scared and afraid of being killed, and some were angry and threatening. Only Blue Lotus Fairies, so calm that it made people wonder if they were the ones being kidnapped. The mustache man was also a little confused. Let me remind you, you are currently being kidnapped. I know, if I want to be kidnapped then so be it. Blue Lotus Fairy still has that calm expression. My condition is not right, don't tell me that you guys don't want me to cooperate with you. I want you to cooperate. Aren't you going to struggle a little? Why am I struggling? The mustached man was dumbfounded by the question. Struggle? Wasn't this human nature? Shouldn't you be happy that I'm cooperating with you? Why do you want me to struggle? Your request is really strange. Blue Lotus Fairy curls her lips as she looks at the 8-character mustache man. What's more, wouldn't struggling mean getting beaten up? I'm not stupid enough to find trouble for myself. The mustachioed man. You make so much sense that I don't even know how to refute you. That's right. They really preferred people who cooperated with them. Usually, the kidnappers would be beaten until they cooperated, or they would cry until the kidnappers needed to threaten them. For them to be so cooperative when they kidnapped Fairy Blue Lotus, they were not used to it. Could it be that this was the courage of a human venerable? This woman couldn't really be a venerable, right? To be honest, at the start, Fairy Blue Lotus had already told the mustachioed man that she was a venerable and asked if she could buy tens of thousands of credit here. She was mercilessly rejected. He had been running a casino here for many years and had seen a few batches of human venerables. He had never seen a venerable like Fairy Blue Lotus, selling his original taste in the casino to prepare for gambling? Or teasing him with words, renting him? Was there such a thing for a venerable? Not wanting face. Even though the ancestral dragon race was not on good terms with the human race, it was said that venerables were people with high status and prestige in the human race. How could such a person do what Fairy Blue Lotus did? But this time she was kidnapped. Wasn't this a little too unconventional? The mustachioed man pondered for a while. This was good too. Fairy Blue Lotus seemed to be quite cooperative. This kind of person was much better than those who did not cooperate. You're right. In the end, the mustachioed man could only sigh. Then I'm very important to you, right? Fairy Blue Lotus tilted her head and asked. And, yes. That's great. Fairy Blue Lotus clapped her hands excitedly. Fairy Blue Lotus clapped her hands excitedly. Hurry up and prepare a good room for me. Also, give me a set of riveted clothes that can display my ladylike image. I don't have high requirements for shoes, just give me high-end black ones, they suit me very well. Are you absolutely going to stand up on your own? The mustachioed man frowned as he looked at Fairy Blue Lotus for a long time. What the hell do you need riveted clothes for if you want to show off your ladylike image? A female gangster? How is that ladylike? Most importantly, what's with that bossy attitude of yours? We're the ones who kidnapped you. Why aren't you going? Fairy Blue Lotus glared. Stop wasting time, otherwise I won't cooperate with you. Don't say that I didn't remind you. My pursuer, the Milky Way Lord, has 200 million in his hand. He won 80 million from you. Which one of you can touch him? I don't think so. If I feel wronged, then all of you are dead. You might not know my position in his heart. He would destroy a life planet for me even if I lose a single strand of hair. Achoo! Yi Zichen rubbed his nose. Who's talking about me? Yi Zichen muttered as he stood in front of the dice table. He guessed that it was most likely Su Yen, Xia Kiki and company. They should be getting anxious as well. I have to hurry up and win enough points, then hurry back home. 10 million, big. After placing the bet, almost all the gamblers around them followed suit and threw all their savings into the big pot. Hurry up, Fairy Blue Lotus urged. The mustachioed man clenched his teeth and nodded fiercely. Take Fairy Blue Lotus to wash up. Also, send someone to buy the clothes and shoes Fairy Blue Lotus needs. Hurry up, the mustachioed man glared. Only then did Fairy Blue Lotus nod with a satisfied smile. Then, the mustachioed man watched Fairy Blue Lotus leave with his subordinate. He also saw Yi Zichen's dice table. Seriously, everyone is betting with him. The one who was in charge was OL6, whom he sent out earlier. This time, the points under the table. It showed that there were more than 60 million. If he loses this, 1-2 small. Accompanied by OL6 low voice, the dice were opened. The number on the table was what he said earlier. In other words, Yi Zichen had completely lost this time, and all of the gamblers had lost everything along with him. All of the gamblers subconsciously looked towards Yi Zichen with bloodshot eyes. Only Yi Zichen rubbed his nose with a smile and looked at the dealer in front of him. He's playing dirty. Interesting. It seems like our story is about to begin. Chapter 2837. Cheating. Yi Zichen couldn't help but smile as he looked at the number on the die. To be honest, actually, Yi Zichen could be considered a cheater as well. That was, he wasn't doing anything to the die. Rather, he could clearly see the number on the die. Otherwise, how could he keep winning? His luck wasn't that heaven-defying. It was the same just now. He just wanted to let the gamblers win once, then leave with his points. After clearly seeing the number on the screen, he was stunned. He'd bet big. To his surprise, the dealer of the casino had done something, causing what should have been a big result to become a small one. At that moment, Yizichin finally noticed that the dealer had changed. "Heya, I really did use up all my luck. What a shame. Let's call it a day." Yizichin chose to pretend he didn't know about OL6 cheating. Actually, even if he really did say it, without sufficient evidence, his testimony would be powerless. Rather than wasting his breath, he might as well just leave. This round had a total of 60 million points. The casino had also recovered quite a bit, so it should be enough. "Sir, are you leaving?" On the contrary, Old Six, who was the trader, smiled warmly and said, "Sir, your luck has always been good. Isn't it a little too prudent for you to leave after just one loss? Gambling, there were winners and losers. If you lose one round, you might win it back the next round." Yizichin, who was just about to leave, laughed inexplicably. "You're not letting me leave?" "Sir, you've misunderstood me," OL6 denied it. "When we do business, we've always dared to give you points if you can win. I just feel like your luck is pretty good. If you continue, you might win even more." "So consider it," Yizichin grinned. Yizichin smiled. "You're making me suspect that this isn't a casino, but a welfare industry." "Not to others, but to you, sir," OL6 smiled warmly. "I heard that you're the Milky Way Lord of the human race?" "You know me?" Yizichin squinted his eyes. "It really is true." The mustached man on the second floor frowned. Looks like Fairy Blue Lotus really did not lie to him. This youth in front of him is actually the Milky Way Overlord. His identity was not fake. His bet was indeed like what Blue Lotus deity had said. He was confident and dared to bet. Then, it proved that everything else she had said was true. Inexplicably, the mustached man heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, they had sent Old Sick. If it were any other dealer, all the points in their prize pool would have been taken away by this Galaxy Lord. He was most grateful to Blue Lotus Fairy. If she had not revealed this information, the Milky Way Lord would have been very difficult to deal with. Fortunately, Fairy Blue Lotus was in his hands. At that time, he could use the Blue Lotus Fairy to exchange for his point. This was much better than losing everything. Lose it all. The points were still transferred to the gambling house. However, if he were to use the Blue Lotus Fairy as a threat, then the points would go into his own pocket. When the time came, he would just have to deal with the other subordinates a little. If the higher-ups of the gambling house came looking for him, he could just quit. With more than 200 million points, what couldn't he do? It was not difficult to live a carefree and happy life. "You really are the Galactic Lord." Old Six smiled. His probing just now was to let the mustached man see, in order to confirm his identity and judge whether Blue Lotus Fairy's words were true or not. "Then do you know Blue Lotus Fairy?" "Yes," Yizichin nodded. Yizichin nodded. "Didn't I come with her?" "Your boss saw it with his own eyes." "When you first entered the city, did your team have 600 divine artifacts?" "Yes." Yizichin really didn't know what the mustached man was trying to do with these strange questions. As the questions continued, the mustached man began to believe Blue Lotus Fairy's words more and more. Maybe Blue Lotus Fairy herself didn't know that she had actually fooled them all by accident. At that moment she was still taking a bath. She was enjoying the fragrant feeling of her body. "Then, your relationship with Blue Lotus Fairy." "That's enough," Yizichin squinted his eyes. Yizichin squinted his eyes. "I came to gamble points. Did you guys check so thoroughly already?" "Milky Way Lord, please don't take offense," Old Six quickly apologized. "It's just that this is the first time someone as important as you came to our gambling house, so I was a bit excited. Last time, your teacher, the Galactic Lord, is a famous person in the ancestral dragon clan. Now that you're here, I thought that this is a rare opportunity, so I wanted to play a bit more with you." That way, I can brag to my other friends that the Galactic Lord once made a bet with me. Heh! Yi Zichen chuckled. Isn't this still because you don't want me to leave? Galactic Lord, I believe that you are definitely the kind of person with heaven-defying luck. You intentionally let us win just now so that we can recoup our losses. We appreciate your kind intentions, but I want to truly gamble with you. Seeing that Yi Zichen didn't seem to want to continue, Old Six revealed the reason for his loss. All of a sudden, the surrounding gamblers looked towards Yi Zichen with eyes filled with rage. Interesting. You want to use these gamblers as a threat? To be honest, Yi Zichen didn't feel any guilt at all when the gamblers lost. They couldn't blame anyone else for their loss. They could only blame themselves for their greed. They'd bet all of their money and lost. Who could they blame? Blame Yi Zichen for screwing them over? So what if Yi Zichen screwed them over? As long as they weren't driven by greed, they wouldn't do this. That was especially true for those who'd already won several million with him. In order to win even more, they'd bet all of their money. They didn't know when to stop. Serves them right. It wasn't just them. Actually, all gamblers didn't deserve any pity. That was Yi Zichen's true thoughts. As for the casino trying to start a fight and make the gamblers cause trouble for Yi Zichen, he didn't care at all. He had 80 million points. Even if he just stood there and let the gamblers beat him, he could turn the tables on them. That was the power of high-level wealth. But he suddenly didn't want to leave. Since the casino wanted to play with him so much, then Yi Zichen didn't mind teaching them a small lesson. What are you looking at me for? Yi Zichen tilted his head and faced the gamblers head-on. Do you want to hit me? Are you angry? Then I'll tell you bluntly. I did it on purpose. What can you do about it? Don't blame others, blame yourselves for being greedy. Of course. If you want to turn the tables around, you can go borrow some points and continue betting with me. Of course, I can't guarantee that you'll win. Think about it properly when you go down. With that, Yi Zichen squinted his eyes and looked at the dealer in front of him. Don't blame me for not reminding you. If you don't let me leave now, then I might not be able to leave even if you ask me to. Continue. Chapter 2838. Actually, if Yi Zichen really wanted to leave, then the people in the casino wouldn't be able to stop him. He had a total of 70 million in his hand. Although a casino required a lot of capital to operate, that capital definitely wasn't what the people in front of him had. For example, the mustached man or OL6. If I'm not wrong, they are actually employees here. The casino also has a boss behind the scenes. Otherwise, they could have used other methods, such as suppressing Yi Zichen with his points, to force him to spit them out. Of course, that sort of behavior would be rather nasty. If they really did that, then the casino's reputation would be greatly affected in the future. All the gamblers came to the casino to earn points. They hoped that one day their luck would be good. They would be able to kill everyone. If they won too much and didn't let them take the points away, then no one would come here in the future. But they could do it in secret. Since they didn't choose to do that, and wanted to slowly win back Yi Zichen's points by cheating, then it proved that they didn't have the ability to deal with Yi Zichen. To be honest, Yi Zichen actually felt like the points he had were more or less enough. If the casino was smart enough to let him leave, then he would let the casino go for once. It's their fault for not being smart enough. Then don't blame me. That's great. OL6 was overjoyed when he heard that Yi Zichen was actually willing to stay. As for the threat he made afterwards, it was actually just that. It didn't have much of a threat at all. In terms of cheating, he was the best out of all the dealers. As long as he didn't want Yi Zichen to win, then he definitely wouldn't win. Yi Zichen subconsciously looked towards the first floor. The mustached man made a gesture towards him. Their many years of cooperation had caused them to have an unusual chemistry. The dice shook. Big. Bet. 100. Yi Zichen put in the points with a smile. OL6 seemed to know what Yi Zichen was thinking when he saw Yi Zichen's bet, so he smiled knowingly. Open. 455. Big. OL6 revealed a congratulatory expression when he said the number. Milky Way Lord, you win. It seems like your luck truly returned. It's just that it's a bit of a pity, you seem to be a bit more cautious this time. Yeah, what a pity. Yizichin shrugged regretfully. After old Six started again, he threw 1,000 points into the hole. Shrink. 133 little. Galaxy Lord, you've won again. Looks like I'm really lucky. Yizichin seemed both surprised and excited, then tossed out another 10,000 points. His points kept increasing. Upstairs, the mustache man and old Six both had an imperceptible smile on their faces. As long as they could keep his heart in suspense, they would be able to quickly recover their capital. It was a pity, they were disappointed. After 10,000, Yizichin continued to bet 10,000, no more, no less. This was so that he could place a bigger bet. They had always been letting Yizichin win. The Galaxy Lord is really lucky, but it's a pity. If you bet 10 million, you might have earned a few 100 million by now. It's all right. Many a little makes a mickle. Yizichin smiled nonchalantly. Actually, I've earned around 10 million just by standing here. That's pretty good. In an instant, the sixth dealer and the mustached man were stunned. More than 10 million. He actually won more than 10 million already? The mustached man instantly slapped his thigh. It seemed like Yizichin had been betting on leopards the entire time. There were many times where he should have lost. Old Six ended up as a leopard. Leopards were 10 times the amount. Originally, the mustached man and old Six didn't pay much attention to it. If it wasn't for Yizichin's reminder, they wouldn't have known that their casino had already lost so much. Heya, I feel like leopards and I might be fated. I'll bet leopards again this time. 10 million. Yizichin squinted his eyes and entered the hole. Actually, he'd only been doing this to test old Six's skills and the way he cheated. There were many times when he used his fiery eyes of truth to see that the dice weren't those at all. He would intentionally lose, but old Six would win in the end. Now, he had a rough understanding of old Six's method. The appetizer was over. It was time to get to the main course. Old Six and the mustached man both tensed up. They actually wanted Yizichin to continue winning, but he was betting leopards. Milky Way Lord. Leopards aren't that easy to get. You've already gotten so many times, I feel like it's better for you to bet on big or small this time. No. I'll bet leopards. Leopards 3. Yizichin chuckled. It seems like the number you guys bet on leopards here is 20 times, right? Give me a bigger one. I'll bet another million on leopards 3. Milky Way Lord. Open. Yizichin frowned. If you continue to be like this, then I'm really going to suspect that you guys are in the welfare industry. What? Can't I lose now? Don't remind me so much. Wouldn't it be bad if people misunderstand that we're on the same side? Then, old Six glanced at the mustached man, then let out a sigh. 445. Before old Six's voice died away, he suddenly saw leopard third from the corner of his eyes. Everyone exclaimed. As early as midway, many people in the gambling house had gathered here. When they heard that there was someone who had a winning streak, the others naturally felt that it was very strange. When they saw that it was leopards 3, Yizichin also bet leopards 3. And he bet 1 million. 20 million. He directly earned 20 million just like that. Including the 10 million leopards he bet before, he earned a total of 120 million. This is impossible. Old Six knew very well that he was going to open big. Ziziz, it seems like my luck is pretty good, Yizichin smiled. Yizichin grinned, then cracked his neck as he watched the points enter his point stone. 20 million leopards. 5 million leopards 6. Old Six continued to bet leopards. Old Six frowned, while the mustached man did not frown as well. Open. 2, 3 leopards 6. Say, I'm too lucky, Yizichin laughed, then bet his points again. Yi Zichen chuckled, then bet his points again. This time, I'm not going to take any risk. I'll bet 4, 5, 6 and a big win. 10 million, that can be counted as helping to lighten the burden on your casino. Oh yeah, if you guys believe in me, then follow me. Open. 4, 5, 6, great. Old Six's hands trembled. The gamblers who followed Yi Zichen to place their bets were all excited, while Yi Zichen also smiled. I earned another 50 million. Sorry about that. Old Six threw the die onto the ground when he saw the playful smile in Yi Zichen's eyes. You cheated. Men, catch him. Chapter 28:39. Whoosh. 10 odd thugs carrying clubs rushed out of the gambling den. The surrounding gamblers hurriedly backed away. They were afraid that this would affect them. You cheated. Ol Six reached out and roared. Yi Zichen merely shrugged with a satisfied smile. Oh? Why do you say that? You know exactly why I said that. Ol Six's eyes reddened. The dice he used were all specific, and he had a way to manipulate them. He could make them turn into the number he wanted. From the moment Yi Zichen bet on leopard, the results were completely different from what he'd expected, and the results were the same. In the beginning, he might have made a mistake. After that, he had to put in 120% of his concentration to control the final result. But in the end, Yi Zichen was the one who said the dice. Tell me, if you didn't cheat, how could you have won so many times? What's more, do you think it's possible for you to roll any number you want? Ol Six frowned at Yi Zichen. You still dare to say you didn't cheat? All of a sudden, the surrounding gamblers began to discuss amongst themselves. That's right. Yi Zichen had won way too many times. Yi Zichen won every single one of the hundreds of bets. Something like that was truly unbelievable. Actually, some of them thought the same. Was Yi Zichen cheating? Cheating was actually a very common thing at the gambling table, provided that you didn't get caught. If you got caught, then you'd be in big trouble. Losing an arm or a leg wasn't a big deal. You might even lose your life. So that's the reason. If that's the case, then I really might have cheated. Yi Zichen nodded slightly. You admit it? Ol Six glared. Hey, don't be in such a hurry. I just said it might be possible. I definitely didn't admit it. Yi Zichen hurriedly shook his head, refusing to take the blame. Winning over 100 rounds is indeed rather suspicious, but didn't you say it yourself? I'm blessed with good fortune. I, the Milky Way Lord, am the embodiment of heaven and earth's fortune. Even the creator gods of the universe are taking care of me. Don't I have to win? Yi Zichen shrugged with a smile, his gaze filled with ridicule. What? Didn't you just say that I'm blessed by the heavens? Now, just because I won 1 point from you, you're starting to angrily say that I cheated? Friend, you were the one who asked me to continue betting with you. Now that you've lost, you're acting shamelessly? Then why did you still want me to gamble with you? Or perhaps you just wanted to win back the initial 80 million from me, so you said those good words. What's wrong? Can't your casino be won by others? Dealer Old Six's face turned green, then white. He definitely could not admit what Yi Zichen said. If he did, then it would have a terrible effect on the casino. But if he didn't admit it, young man, if you want to accuse him of cheating, you need evidence. Yi Zichen twisted his neck again and shrugged. Do you have any proof that I cheated? Ignoring everything else, I can just tell you right now that I cheated, but do you have any proof that I cheated? No, I didn't. Even if you're cheating, you have to catch me to reveal myself, right? To tell the truth, Yi Zichen's words were a bit provocative. As for those hired thugs, they didn't exist in Yi Zichen's eyes. What was the point? He didn't believe that those hired thugs could have several 100 million points. Right now, Yi Zichen had exactly 500 million points in his hand. At the start, he had 10 million straight, then 3 million straight. That was 120 million straight. After that, he had 20 million straight, then 6 to 5 million straight. 300 million straight. Then a straight of 10 million straight. 50 million straight. With that, he had a total of 580 million in his hands, including the 80 million he officially started his counterattack. In the entire casino. Who could touch him? You! Old Six glared. What about me? Yi Zichen smiled. Hurry up, let's continue. Let me see, just where exactly did you get the confidence to think that no one can tell that you cheated? King bullshit. Old Six's eyes darkened, then clenched his teeth and shouted angrily at Yi Zichen. Did I say something wrong? Yi Zichen squinted his eyes and smiled, then slowly walked towards Old Six. The dealer was in the casino's working area. Outsiders were not allowed to enter. When Yi Zichen walked over, Old Six roared angrily. Stop him! CK off to the side. With a swing of his hand and a slap, the thugs were sent flying more than 10 meters away, as if they were chickens being swatted away. CK. Even Yi Zichen was a bit shocked. This is the power of points. 500 million points, is it that amazing? Yi Zichen smiled, then felt a lot more at ease. He directly walked in front of Old Six, pushed him away, and grabbed the die on the table. Come, let everyone have a look. Yi Zichen slapped the die, causing a sliver of silver liquid to flow out from it. Did you guys see it? This is mercury. I don't know if the ancestral dragon clan calls it that, but that's what my parents call it. This dealer put mercury into the die in order to control the final result. Actually, think about it carefully. Is it? Every time the die is opened, he knows the result without even looking at it. Why? Have you thought about it? Old Six's expression drastically changed as he shouted. Bullshit. They need to judge whether or not I'm bullshitting. Society isn't stupid, right? Yi Zichen squinted his eyes and shrugged. Flames instantly burned in the eyes of the gamblers outside. Cheating. The dealer cheated. Then doesn't that mean that the reason we lost before was because the dealers cheated? Regardless of whether that was the case or not. Either way, they already put the blame on the dealers. You guys actually King cheated. Give us back our points. The gamblers started to smash things up in the casino. Facing the rage of the gamblers, the club-wielding fighters did not dare to move. Everyone, calm down a bit. Yi Zichen raised his hand with a smile. Yi Zichen raised his hand with a chuckle. It is very annoying for the dealer to cheat, but I'll just win it back for you guys. 100 million points transferred in. When the other gamblers saw that, they quickly transferred in their points as well. As long as there were points, the gamble had to continue. Hearing the number Yi Zichen said, the other gamblers also placed their bet. This time, there were 200 million points in the pool. If they lost, then it would be 4 billion. What are you blanking out for? Hurry up and open it. Mr. Dealer, I allow you to cheat. Just see whether or not you can succeed in the end. Chapter 2840. So what if he cheated? In an environment like this where the universe's energy was sealed, Yi Zichen couldn't use his godhead's power. Did he use the mercury in the dice to do some tricks? Would it work? This was like an ordinary dealer in the secular world. He had extremely high cheating skills, but the person standing in front of him was a cultivator. The gap between them was like a huge mountain. He had no idea how small he was in the eyes of the so-called prey when he was so pleased with himself that he had caught the prey. He was right. It was as small as a speck of dust. Old Six's hand trembled violently, and he threw the dice onto the ground with the hand that was holding the dice. You. Hurry up and start. From start to finish, Yi Zichen remained calm and composed. His gaze was filled with a gentle smile. That smile was the same as Old Six. This was the kind of calmness that could only be possessed by absolute confidence in one's heart. Sir. Old Six trembled, not knowing what to say. He could not continue. He couldn't pull off a 4 billion yuan scheme. If he lost 4 billion yuan, he would be dead for sure. Little did he know that he might have forgotten that he had already lost 500 million yuan. Under such a premise, could he still live? But at this time, old Six couldn't think so much at all. His mind was filled with 4 billion yuan. That's right. In his heart, he was certain that Yi Zichen would win. And it was definitely the number he mentioned. Sir, I was wrong. Then, OL6 knelt onto the ground, grabbed Yi Zichen's leg, and begged. Let me go. Milky Way Lord, please be magnanimous. I know I was wrong. I won't gamble this round. I had eyes but failed to recognize Mount Tai. I admit defeat. Old Six's plea rang out in the casino. The gamblers who were still immersed in their gambling tables looked over when they heard it. The person kneeling on the ground turned out to be Old Six. Opposite him was a very unfamiliar young man. Many customers were interested in him. One had to know that Old Six was the top card of the casino. No matter how difficult the situation was, he could turn it around in his hand. The dice were even better. He had a trick up his sleeve. Actually, everyone had a tacit understanding of cheating. Everyone who came here all year round knew about the dirty tricks in the gambling house. But before deciding on the evidence, they couldn't say anything. He just hoped that he wouldn't be unlucky enough to bump into them. Right now, Old Six was kneeling and begging for mercy. Buddy, what's going on? Why is Old Six kneeling? There were some who liked to join in the fun and gathered around. Old Six cheated and was caught. Someone replied, this young man won 500 million from Old Six. Old Six said that he cheated, but in the end, he was caught by this young man. Is that so? 500 million. Everyone who heard this number sucked in a cold breath. Who is this kid? He looks unfamiliar. He's basically wrecking the place right under Master Su's nose. Winning 500 million, isn't he afraid that Master Su will get someone to mess with him? Who knows? I don't think he's a local. Another person whispered, that Old Six addressed him as the Milky Way Overlord, as though he's our ancestral dragon tribe's human race that came in from outside. He has a high status. The Master of the Galaxy seems to have a special relationship with him. Master of the Galaxy. Everyone was in an uproar. In the ancestral dragon tribe, everyone knew of the Master of the Galaxy. Of course, the challenge against the ruling master was still fresh in their mind. Old Six is unlucky anyway. I think the casino wants him to recoup some of his losses. Who would have thought that this Master of the Galaxy isn't a good person? Look at the gamblers around him, they've all won a lot of points with him. Just now, he bet another 100 million and the others followed suit. Look at this round, the points on the table are already more than 200 million. The people behind pointed at the points on the table and raised their eyebrows. Oh my God! Those who came later were all scared out of their wit. They didn't expect that while they were playing cards, the casino would cause such a huge commotion. But that kid should have cheated. What do you think? The people at the side curled their lip. If he didn't cheat, how could he win so badly? And he opened whatever he wanted. If this isn't cheating, what is? He said just now, so what if he admits to cheating? He has 500 million now, and the casino didn't catch him cheating. Grandpa Su will probably come later. Definitely. The little mustache probably can't handle it. If we don't contact Grandpa Su, then no one can stop this Master of the Galaxy today. As expected of someone with the prefix Milky Way. Everything he does is so eye-catching. I know, right? The customers discussed amongst themselves. Meanwhile, Old Six knelt on the ground and begged Yi Zichen for mercy. Yi Zichen didn't say anything. The gamblers were unwilling. Hurry up and leave. What are you crying for? Why weren't you like this when you won our points? Right now, we're just taking back our previous points. What are you going to do about it? You still don't want to give it to us? Several gamblers rushed up and grabbed Old Six's clothes. They wanted to throw him out. Unfortunately, they forgot that they'd already thrown all their points onto the table, which meant that they had no points at all. Dealer Old Six had points. The gamblers all fell to the ground from the backlash of the energy barrier formed by their point. As for Old Six, he continued to hug Yizichen's leg. Milky Way Lord, please really let me go. Ha! Yizichen looked down and laughed coldly. At that moment, the mustached man walked down with his subordinate. What exactly is going on? From his tone, it was as if he didn't know anything at all. Little did he know, Yizichen clearly saw that every time OL6 attacked, he'd glance upstairs. He was looking at the mustached man's position. Milky Way Lord. When he was about to walk up, the mustached man hurriedly pretended to be surprised. Big bro, save me! Old Six knelt on the ground and crawled over. The mustached man frowned at him for a moment, then looked up at Yizichen with a smile. Milky Way Lord, what's? Nothing, I just wanted to place a bet, but your men suddenly stopped, Yizichen muttered. Yizichen muttered. Isn't your casino open for business? Why aren't you opening for bets? Do you still want to keep your casino or not? Is that so? How much did the Milky Way Lord place? 100 million. So that's how it is, the mustached man rolled his eyes. Milky Way Lord, you might not know this, but our casino is just a small one. We can't accept 100 million like this. If you win, we won't be able to pay you back. Don't you think it'll be even harder to deal with then? How about this? I'll refund your points, you see. What refund? I'm not refunding. The gamblers shouted. What do you mean you won't do it after 100 million? You've clearly broken 100 million on the table before. You're clearly afraid of the Milky Way Lord and afraid of losing. You don't dare to open anymore. What nonsense are you spouting? Oh, so what? The mustached man no longer had the flattering smile he had before. Instead, he looked at the gamblers coldly. What do you guys think? Chapter 28:41. The mustached man's reply was powerful and resonant. His gaze was calm, but also filled with a hint of disdain and playfulness. A bunch of gamblers. He didn't care about them at all. These people all had empty pockets all year round. Even having 1 million in their hands would be a lot. Grandpa Sue's hired thugs, who didn't have at least 10 million points. Dealing with them would be as easy as crushing ants. The mustached man's disdainful tone caused the gamblers' hearts to freeze. For a long time they were speechless. Milky Way Lord. Some of the smarter ones wanted the Milky Way Lord to speak up for them. Did you hear that? I did. Yizichen shrugged. He has quite the temper. This casino sure is impressive. Milky Way Lord, please don't be sarcastic, said the mustached man respectfully. The mustached man said respectfully, you've already won a few 100 million this time. Actually, it's almost enough. Don't make things difficult for us, okay? I'll refund you your points. Are you still not satisfied? Just who's making things difficult for whom? Yizichen laughed when he heard the mustached man's words. You can ask yourself if I was the one making things difficult for you, or if you were the one making things difficult for me. I wanted to leave, but your people insisted on stopping me. He wanted to bet with me. I satisfied his long-cherished wish and made a bet with him. A huge one at that. That's already giving him enough face, isn't it? What? Am I making things difficult for you now? Yizichen smiled helplessly and shook his head. He pointed at OL6 and shrugged. Why don't you ask him? I don't need to ask. The mustached man laughed. I trust the Milky Way Lord's words. OL6 is just like that. He likes to gamble with important figures like you. Now that you've taught him a lesson, can you stop now? And if I say no? Yizichen's brows darkened, and his gaze turned frivolous. I made myself very clear just now. If you make me stay, it'll be hard for me to leave. Have you heard of it? It's easy to invite a god in, but hard to send him away. I can't leave even if I want to. If you want me to leave, I'll leave. I'm someone with status in the human race. Don't tell me I don't want to lose face? The surrounding customers all held their breath. He had just started. Judging from the tone of the Milky Way Lord, he was prepared to teach the gambling den a painful lesson. It was unknown how the mustache man was going to deal with this. One had to know that this gambling house had an extraordinary background. It was Grandpa Sue's territory. 500 million points was a lot. However, in front of Grandpa Sue, he paled in comparison. Any one of his subordinates could easily deal with this person with 500 million points. But the identity of this Milky Way Lord was rather special. Your Majesty of the human race. He was also invited by the ancestral dragon clan. Such a person would have a rather high status in the human race universe. What's more, he had a close relationship with the Master of the Galaxy. The Milky Way Master's reputation in the ancestral dragon tribe was not inferior to those heroes. If they really fought, even Grandpa Sue would have to give some face. Is the Milky Way Lord determined not to give face? The mustached man's gaze darkened. So what if I am? Yi Zichen let out a sigh calmly and glanced at the gambling table. Open? Milky Way Lord, there's something I have to remind you of. The mustached man narrowed his eyes and whispered, Don't you feel like you're missing someone? Huh! When he heard that, Yi Zichen was stunned for a moment. If you want to threaten me, do it properly. You can carry anyone you want. What kind of threat was this to say such an inexplicable sentence? Who was missing? There was no one missing at all. He'd come to the gambling house on his own. Alan was supposed to come with him, but he was concerned about Su Yan's safety, so he told her to go back. What do you mean? Fairy Blue Lotus. The mustached man reminded him. What's wrong with her? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows indifferently. Don't you find it strange that she's not here? There's something wrong with your head, said Yi Zichen with a frown. Yi Zichen instantly frowned. She can do whatever she wants. What's so strange about her not being here? Am I supposed to panic and be afraid when she's not here? That's right. Fairy Blue Lotus can go wherever she wants. But what if she's been captured? The mustached man narrowed his eyes. Then she's just unlucky, Yi Zichen shrugged. Yi Zichen shrugged. But there shouldn't be any problems with her personality. Even if she's captured, she can sacrifice herself. You don't care about Fairy Blue Lotus's life? Why would I? Before Yi Zichen finished, a seductive figure ran over from the first floor of the gambling house. Inha! Yi Zichen couldn't help but shiver when he heard the bone-numbing voice. When he turned around, he saw a beautiful woman who just so happened to wear a rivet shirt and a pair of black boots. It wasn't that this sort of woman didn't match the outfit. She was beautiful. She matched everything she wore. It was this sort of outfit that should give people a feeling of coolness. However, the person in front of him had a greasy expression and was flirtatiously blinking at Yi Zichen. Flirting? The other people in the gambling house were all shocked when they saw the woman in the rivet shirt. The mustached man was even more shocked. Could this be Fairy Blue Lotus? Milky Way. The beauty in the rivet shirt walked in front of Yi Zichen and held Yi Zichen's hand intimately. You must have been worried while I wasn't here. What the heck? Yi Zichen looked at the woman in front of him in confusion. However, the mustached man was also confused. Didn't you say? You look down on Milky Way lords? Why the F***ck are you acting like you're a person? What Yi Zichen didn't know was that Fairy Blue Lotus also wanted to act cold, but she thought about it while she was showering. Act cold? What if Yi Zichen doesn't cooperate with me? Everything she said to the mustached man was just something she made up. Although she was lucky and everything she said matched up, Yi Zichen doesn't know the script. Rather than getting slapped in the face, I might as well change the script. What's more, this brat is rich. Several tens of millions of points. It shouldn't be a problem for him to bail me out, right? She had already dressed up. With her looks and figure, as well as her flirtatious eyes, she could easily make Yi Zichen, an inexperienced brat, fall into her arms with just a slight curl of her finger. Obediently hand over all her points. Then, she would be a rich person, and she would be able to live however she wanted. Then, Yizichen would become her slave. If I don't have any points, then I'll get him to earn them for me. My life will instantly become better. The more Blue Lotus Fairy thought about it, the more she couldn't help but giggle. Yizichen tilted his head and looked at the crazy woman. Beauty, who are you? Damn you. Have you forgotten about me? I am your most beloved Blue Lotus. Blue Lotus Fairy looked at Yizichen flirtatiously. Yizichen stared straight at her, while his throat bobbed. Right. Conquered by my beauty, right? Hurry up. Drown in my beauty and become my slave. Blue Lotus Fairy thought to herself, then blinked her eyes even faster as she tried to seduce Yizichen. Then Yizichen covered his mouth. Ugh. Chapter 2842. I'm really going to puke. Can you stop messing with my mentality here? You're not a proper person, and you're acting cute. If you want to act cute, then just do it properly, but you're even winking at me. To be honest, some people really aren't suited for all of this. If what Blue Lotus Fairy did was done by Xiaokiki, Yizichen would definitely feel that Xiaokiki was so cute, and his heart would melt. Then he looked at Blue Lotus Fairy. What the heck? Yizichen tilted his head and pretended to retch, while Blue Lotus Fairy's face turned green. What are you doing? No, what are you doing? Yizichen tilted his head and looked at Blue Lotus Fairy's face, then flung his arm away. Let go, you're just trying to touch me. Do I know you that well? Hearing that, the mustached man frowned. What's going on? However, Yizichen's attitude towards Blue Lotus Fairy was not like what Blue Lotus Fairy had said. He was completely in love with her. Blue Lotus Fairy. Milky Way Lord, what are you talking about? Blue Lotus Fairy immediately frowned. Isn't it just me rejecting you when you confessed to me last time? Is there a need to be like this? You're quite a big man, but you're still quite narrow-minded. Even if there were a lot of people at that time, it might have made you lose face, but I'm a woman. You suddenly confessed to me, and I was also a little panicked. Yizichen was completely stunned by Blue Lotus Fairy's accusation. What the heck? Confession? Rejection? Did this sis drink some fake alcohol? Why did she start spouting nonsense? Say. What did you say? Blue Lotus Fairy did not give Yizichen a chance to speak. Her mouth shot out like a machine gun. You actually said that you'll love me till the end of time, that you won't change your mind even if the universe is destroyed, and that you'll be loyal to me. I'm the treasure in your heart. Heh, you revealed your true nature just because I rejected you once. Are you even a man? TSK scumbag. No. What do you mean no? What else do you want to say? Blue Lotus Fairy interrupted Yizichen and scolded him. Milky Way Lord, I must have been blind to have felt sorry for you. It was indeed my fault for making you lose face back then. Actually, I'm a bit regretful in my heart, so I wanted to treat you a bit better just now, but I didn't expect. When she got emotional, Blue Lotus Fairy directly covered her face and cried bitterly. I've already fallen in love with you, but you've given up. Milky Way Lord, you disappoint me. Woo woo woo. What the F***? What the hell is going on? Yizichen's mind was filled with question marks as he looked at Blue Lotus Fairy, who was squatting on the ground and crying. Could it be that he had mistaken her for someone else? That shouldn't be the case. He was the Milky Way overlord of the entire human race universe. It couldn't be that someone would steal his name from the outside and swindle money and sex from Blue Lotus Fairy, right? But now she was yelling at him. To be honest, Yizichen hated women crying the most. Although his impression of Blue Lotus Fairy was not particularly good, seeing her crying with her hands covering her face, he could not bear it. After hesitating for a while, he patted her shoulder in fear. Don't cry. Don't touch me. Pervert, scumbag, I hate you. Blue Lotus Fairy slapped Yizichen's hand away with all her might, but was still immersed in her character. Then alright, sorry. Yizichen apologized to Blue Lotus Fairy, then shrugged. I'll just leave. Blue Lotus Fairy, who was faking her tears, was stunned. Leave? Did I say you can leave? What about me if you leave? I'm being kidnapped right now. Kidnapping? It's very scary. Although Blue Lotus Fairy didn't feel like it was that scary, she merely felt that it was interesting, and wanted to increase her life experience in order to cooperate with the mustached man to kidnap her. However, since she was in this character, she had to maintain the character's characteristic. Don't go. Blue Lotus Fairy sniffled with a sullen look. However, not a single tear fell from her eyes, nor did they turn red. She grabbed Yi Zichen's pants with her fair hands. Blue Lotus Fairy bit her lips. I forgive you. I was too emotional just now, but I wasn't right either. I shouldn't have not given you face in front of so many important figures. I am willing to let you pursue me again. Can we start from zero? Although I know that you're a decent person, I'm not familiar with you. What's more, I'm a sovereign, while you're only at the universe level. The difference between us is too huge. However, I'm willing to give you a chance to pursue me. Let's do it slowly, okay? Her soft voice made one's heart ache for her. Plenty of customers let out a long sigh, thinking that Blue Lotus Fairy was a soft-hearted woman. Yi Zichen was stunned. What's going on? The mustached man was also stunned. Big sis, I used you to get ransom money. Why are you still dating me here? I bought clothes for you and let you take a shower. I told you to come here to play. Capture her. The mustached man saw that the situation didn't seem right, so he waved his hand, causing several thugs to rush over and capture Blue Lotus Fairy. Let go of me. Blue Lotus Fairy struggled with all her might, while looking at Yi Zichen with a look of desire. Inhe, save me! Ugh! Yi Zichen felt his stomach churn when he heard the way she called him and the heartbroken voice. I really want to vomit. Lord of the Milky Way, Blue Lotus Fairy is in our hands right now. I'll make things clear for you. If you want her to live, then hand over all the points you won from the casino. I can pretend like nothing happened. You don't hand it over, then don't blame me for being rude to Blue Lotus Fairy. The mustached man's gaze darkened, then reached out towards Blue Lotus Fairy. This little beauty, it's pretty good to let us bros have some fun. Ah! Don't touch me! Blue Lotus Fairy shouted. What kind of plot is this? Kidnapping. Threatening. The hand of the mustached man did not even touch the Blue Lotus Fairy, but the Blue Lotus Fairy had already started to shout. What's more, the thugs didn't seem to be holding her very tightly. Trapping me together? Yi Zichen finally understood. Isn't this just Blue Lotus Fairy and the mustached man colluding together to screw me over? They first got Blue Lotus Fairy to create public opinion. She made it sound so sad. She made the surrounding customers sympathize with her. If Yi Zichen didn't care about her, then he would definitely be criticized. When that happens, this matter would spread throughout Liberation City. It would make him lose all face. Most importantly, if Su Yen and Xia Kiki heard about it, then it would be hard to explain. Not bad. Yi Zichen even suspected that this person was Blue Lotus Fairy. The Blue Lotus Fairy he knew was a scarecrow. How could she be so pretty? Could she be an actress hired by the mustached man? It doesn't matter who she is. Yi Zichen was definitely going to take care of her. Since that's the case, then I'll play with them. I don't believe that they can screw me over with 500 million worth of wealth. Keep dreaming. Chapter 2843. Since he decided to act with them, Yi Zichen decided to first summarize his character settings. Milky Way Lord. He had admired Blue Lotus for a long time. Even though his confession was rejected, his admiration for Blue Lotus didn't diminish. Golden Bootlicker. When Blue Lotus expressed that she was willing to go out with him, he was already filled with excitement and joy as a potential suitor. When he saw Blue Lotus get captured, he should hurry up and let go of Blue Lotus. Yi Zichen's eyes were filled with nervousness and worry. Don't hurt the fairy. That's more like it. The mustached man let out a sigh when he saw the panic in Yi Zichen's eyes. It seems like I was overthinking. What Blue Lotus Fairy said was true, Yi Zichen was her suitor. And a very infatuated one at that. The reason why he was so cold towards Blue Lotus was because he held a grudge against her for rejecting him. He could understand that. No matter what, the Milky Way Lord was an important figure. What's more, Blue Lotus said that she rejected him in front of many major powers. The Milky Way Lord was naturally displeased. He felt like he lost face. Blue Lotus apologized and said that she was willing to give the Milky Way Lord a chance to go out with her. He instantly fell for it. Since the Milky Way Lord was so afraid, the more afraid he was, the more he should threaten him. Hee. The mustached man's laughter changed. He squinted his eyes and snorted coldly. Don't touch her? Milky Way Lord, it seems like Blue Lotus is rather important to you. Of course, she's my life. Yi Zichen boasted. Since that's the case, then do as I say if you want Blue Lotus to be free. The mustached man squinted his eyes. Alright, go ahead. Yi Zichen nodded. The surrounding customers were all shocked. This Milky Way Lord is stupid, right? He has more than 500 million points, he can just go and kidnap her. A customer twitched his mouth. It's not like he's really going to kill her if he doesn't give her points. Now that she's right in front of him, he's actually going to give her points when he can just snatch her back? He's too worried. Someone muttered. I think he's just brainless. No matter what the other customers said, Yi Zichen followed his own script. Right now, he was trying to portray himself as a man who loved Fairy Blue Lotus to the bone, a man who was infatuated with her and was afraid that she would suffer any harm. Very good. Then I'll state my conditions. Hand over all your points and I'll let you go. Good. Yi Zichen nodded vigorously. Is it a bet on the gambling table? I can lose all of this to you. No need, just give it to me. The mustached man muttered. Yi Zichen instantly knit his brows. Give it to him? What he was thinking was to bet all his money on Leopard. When the time came, he would continue to bet leopards and make the gambling house go bankrupt. Unexpectedly, the mustached man did not play by the rules. Yi Zichen instantly understood. He wanted to keep the points for himself. How greedy! Yi Zichen muttered to himself, then continued to pretend to care. Is that okay? I won my points from your casino as well. If I return them to you, what if the boss of your casino comes after me? If I tell you to give it to me, then give it to me. What's with all this bullshit? The mustached man glared. I was thinking. Fine. Put another 200 million on the table. I know you have 200 million. Don't ask me how I know. I just know. The mustached man snorted coldly. Give me all the 580 million you win in the future. 200 million. The setting for my character is actually a rich master? However, this kind of setting was too retarded. I just came in from the human race. How could I have 200 million? Yi Zichen scratched his head, then didn't say anything else and threw another 200 million onto the table. Leopards? What are you doing? The mustached man's expression instantly darkened when he saw that Yi Zichen actually played leopards. Do you want her to die? No. Yi Zichen quickly shook his head. Didn't I just bet leopard one just now? I just wanted to raise the stakes. When the time comes, I'll lose if you guys roll any number. Why? All of a sudden, the gamblers were unwilling. We also bet leopards. You want to lose, but we don't want to lose. Why do we have to pay for your things as well? Refund our points. Yeah, give us back our points. Refund it to us. The gamblers shouted crazily. Yi Zichen shook his head helplessly as he looked at the gamblers. I can't feed them no matter what. I let them win so much, but now they directly turned against me. Refund, give it back to them. The mustached man waved his hand. He actually didn't want to give it back, but when he thought about how he couldn't get his 580 million if these people continued to make a fuss, he decided. After thinking about it for a while, he still decided to give them back their points. The staff returned all of the points on the table. Only then did the gamblers who got their points satisfied. Go and start the game, then close it today. Yes. The dealer ran over and casually shook the table. The chance of a leopard being played was extremely small, so he merely shook it a bit to deal with the staff. Open. The dealer didn't care about it and hurried back in front of the mustached man. Then, he saw that the mustached man's eyes were completely red. Milky Way Lord. I didn't do anything. Yizichin shook his head, indicating to the mustached man that he didn't do anything. Everyone else also looked over. It was Leopard 1 who opened the table. Including the 100 million Yizichin had bet on Leopard 1 at the start, and the 200 million he had thrown in afterwards. That was a total of 4 billion. At that very moment, within a training ground, ding-dong, the points you have stored in the point-splitting stone are insufficient. The insufficient points will be deducted from your main point. Amount to be deducted, 144 million. Ding-dong. Deduction successful. A long-haired young man in the training ground was stunned when he received the notification. Men! Lord Su! Go and check which casino under us has a problem. I just received a 4 billion deduction notification. What? I'll go and check right now. The young man sat on a rock and muttered softly as he watched his subordinate leave. Ajo's little brother, should I go and take a look? What identity should I use? Brother-in-law? I think so. The young man smiled, as if he didn't care about the points at all, and continued to practice in the training ground. 4 billion. The entire gambling den kept quiet out of fear. The mustached man also clenched his head. Milky Way Lord, you've caused huge trouble. No, this really has nothing to do with me. Yizichin shook his head frantically. I didn't do anything. You guys saw it as well. I've been standing here the entire time without touching the table. How about this? I'll bet all 4 billion back in. You still want to bet? The mustached man glared. If there was no surprise, Lord Su definitely received the deduction notification, and would definitely send someone over. 4 billion. How about I blackmail him? If I can blackmail the 4 billion, where can't I go to the ancestral dragon clan? Transfer all of it to me. The mustached man clenched his head. Hearing that, the hearts of the other gamblers trembled. 4 billion. He's going to pocket it all for himself. Is he really not afraid of Lord Su messing with him? But then again, if 4 billion was placed in front of them, how could they not be tempted? The choice they made should be the same, right? Alright, then take out the point stone. I'll transfer it to you right now. Yizichin nodded fearfully. The mustached man took out the point stone. At that very moment, Yizichin suddenly snatched the point stone, then slapped the mustached man in the face. The slap sent the mustached man 10-odd meters away. You still want to scam lousy? Grandson, your points are mine. Chapter 2844. Energy was injected. A bunch of numbers appeared on the point crystal. 20 million. Strangely enough, even though the ancestral dragon clan had sealed away the universe's energy, some of it still flowed into the point crystal when it was activated. As for the reason, it was impossible to know. Yizichin squinted his eyes and smiled when he saw the numbers. You're pretty rich. This sudden turn of events was something no one in the casino could have imagined. 1 second, he was so humble that he was groveling. The next, he directly snatched the mustached man's point crystal and slapped him, sending him flying 10-odd meters back. Blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. The hired thugs in the casino fell silent. After a moment of silence, the surrounding customers felt that this was only natural. After all, he had 500 million points. No, he already had 4.5 billion points. How could he possibly be threatened by the mustached man? No matter how stupid he wasn't stupid enough to actually give his points to the mustached man. In other words, everything he did just now was all an act. Milky Way Lord. After being slapped, the mustached man, who was lying on the ground and clutching his chest, roared with reddened eyes. Grandpa is here. Yizichin stood in the casino with a smile. His contented expression made the mustached man feel more and more annoyed. You dare! What are you trying to say? Yizichin smiled warmly, then pulled out a chair and sat down. Or rather, do you think there's anything I don't dare to do? Little bastard, do you really think you can deceive me? The mustached man sighed heavily on the ground. Then he glanced at the gambling table and recalled Yizichin's groveling. You did it on purpose. You're not that stupid, Yizichin nodded. Yizichin nodded. Actually, I'm starting to wonder what exactly is going on in your head. Friend, no matter what, I had 500 million in my hands back then. What right do you think you have to threaten me when I have that much points? Just the thought of it was laughable. At that time, everything the mustached man did was like an ordinary person. Knowing that the other party was a cultivator, he still captured a strange person and used him to incite public opinion and threaten him. What did he use to threaten him? What qualifications do I have? Ignoring everything else, just Yizichin was standing right there. Even if everyone in the casino was included, who could do anything to him? How ridiculous! However, the mustached man really did think that Blue Lotus Fairy, whom he was dragging, could make Yizichin just sit there and wait to be captured. Actually, this matter could not be completely blamed on him. If the people he'd captured were Xiaokiki, Su Yan, and the others, Yizichin really might have taken their safety into consideration. He didn't want them to come to any harm and chose to yield. But what does Blue Lotus Fairy have to do with him? What was he afraid of? Whether he died or not did not affect him much. But the mustached man didn't know that. Fairy Blue Lotus is simply too lucky. She was obviously just spouting nonsense, but in the end it was all proven to be true bit by bit. Furthermore, Yizichin had been cooperating with her the entire time. So much so that the mustached man completely believed everything. If that wasn't the case, he wouldn't have threatened someone with more than 500 million points. Actually, you're quite lucky. Originally, I wanted to bet all 500 million, but in the end, you asked me to bet 200 million. 4 billion. That's barely enough. Yizichin rubbed his nose, then stretched lazily, before looking at the mustached man's crystal in his hand. Oh yeah, I have to thank you for the points. Milky Way Lord, you sure are vicious. The mustached man clenched his teeth, then shouted towards his men. Kill that woman. That won't do. The moment the mustached man finished speaking, Yizichin let out a sigh and shook his head. If it's true, then I have to tell you to kill her in front of me. How am I supposed to live in Liberation City in the future? How am I supposed to live in the ancestral dragon clan in the future? Let me ask a bit. Did Zhuing tell you to do this? Who is Zhuing? I don't know her. The mustached man glared. Milky Way Lord, I admit that you are vicious enough to actually dare to use the woman you love to earn points. But don't forget, no matter what, Blue Lotus Fairy is still in our hands. You do have points, and 4 billion at that, but killing her is just a matter of a thought. Milky Way! Blue Lotus Fairy struggled and shouted. That's not enough, Yizichin sighed helplessly. Yizichin sighed helplessly. I really admire these people. They still want to continue pretending even now. Yizichin thought about it for a moment, then shrugged. Fine, since you guys like acting so much, then I'll play along. You guys, let go of Blue Lotus Fairy. Yizichin pointed at the thugs and muttered, Don't make me do it myself. Don't make me do it myself. Blue Lotus Fairy is my beloved woman. If you dare to touch a single finger of hers, I will take your lives. A vicious gaze shot out from Yizichin's eyes. The thugs who were holding on to Fairy Blue Lotus seemed to be frightened by the look in his eyes as they looked around at each other. Actually, to be honest, they couldn't understand the mustached man's actions at all. He has several billion points, yet he still wants to fight him head-on. Isn't that just seeking death? Don't let go, the mustached man shouted. Hurry up, don't make me slap you guys. Yizichin squinted his eyes and muttered. The thugs thought for a moment, then let go of Blue Lotus Fairy's arm in unison. They chose not to cause any trouble. What happened this time actually had nothing to do with them. Whether it was the loss of the gambling house's points, or whether it was the chaos this time that had nothing to do with them. Even if the higher-ups blamed them, they had something to say. Since the other party has 4 billion points, were they supposed to just send people with 10 million points to their deaths? You guys, when the thugs let go of Blue Lotus Fairy, the mustached man clutched his chest as if he had suffered a huge blow. It seems like your thugs aren't as calm as you are. But I'm a bit curious. Didn't you guys rehearse before acting? Or, you found this woman yourself. You didn't tell your subordinates beforehand because you wanted to take all of my points for yourself? Aren't you too greedy, friend? Yizichin shook his head helplessly. Blue Lotus Fairy's eyes were filled with tears as she clung onto Yizichin. Milky Way. Yizichin felt extremely uncomfortable when he heard her goosebumps. Beauty, be more normal. I really don't know you. Who exactly are you? Why are you pretending to be Blue Lotus Fairy? I am Blue Lotus. Blue Lotus Fairy glared. Still pretending? Yizichin pointed at her for a while, then whispered. That's enough. You guys can't turn the situation around anymore. What are you still pretending for? With that, Yizichin looked at Blue Lotus Fairy with a helpless expression. He looked at Blue Lotus Fairy for a long time. Then, he slowly raised his finger towards the other thugs in the gambling house. You guys, if you don't want to die, then hand over your points. Chapter 28:45. 10 odd-point stones were placed in front of Yizichin. Most of the points they had were between 10 million and 20 million, and they were all integers. All of the customers in the casino were shocked. They had never seen so many points in their lives. However, it was already a huge shock for them. Ignoring everything else, Yizichin had earned a total of 4 billion. All of them were witnesses. Blue Lotus Fairy's eyes also opened wide. She bit her lips, then couldn't help but touch the point stones with her fair and slender fingers. He's pretty rich. Yizichin patted Blue Lotus Fairy's hand, then silently put away all of the point stones. As expected, these points should have been provided by the casino itself. It was to give them the ability to take care of the people who caused trouble in the casino. 10 million wasn't a lot, but it wasn't a small amount either. Those who came to this sort of casino would have more than 10 million points. Even if there really was someone who gambled more heavily, there were dealers like OL6 who could cheat and win back all of their points. When they won back most of their points, even if someone caused trouble, the points of the fighters were enough to suppress them. Yizichin was a special case. The dealers were unable to gain any advantage from him, and due to the mustached man's selfishness, he accumulated more and more points, causing no one to be able to control him anymore. Right now, the people in the casino, if it wasn't for Grandpa Sue, they probably wouldn't be able to touch Yizichin, who had a huge amount of points. Blue Lotus Fairy stared blankly at the point stones. From her eyes to Yizichin's pocket. Afterwards, her eyes never left the point stones, and her hand couldn't help but want to touch Yizichin's chest. Points. At that moment, Yizichin had around 4 to 5 billion points. If I can give these points to her, she would be able to smile even in her dreams. You have a future. You know that the points belong to the public, and your life is your own. You didn't do stupid things like your manager. Not bad. Yizichin guarded against Blue Lotus Fairy's hands. At the same time, he smiled satisfactorily at the fighters. This time, when Yizichin came to the casino, he pretty much emptied out the entire place. The point pool was emptied. The internal staff's points were all taken away by him. Milky Way Lord, you're in big trouble. You're in big trouble. The mustached man clutched his chest and forced himself to stand up. Do you know who owns this place? Master Sue. It's fine that you won all the gambling house's points. This is your own ability. But now that you've snatched the staff members' points, you're slapping Grandpa Sue's face. You're provoking Tai Sui. You sure have a lot of words. Yi Zichen rubbed his nose, then arched his eyebrows at the mustached man. Where did you learn to say all that? Where did you learn the phrase, provoke the Tai Sui? Actually, Yi Zichen had noticed a long time ago. Not only did the ancestral dragon clan's living habits were similar to Earth's secular world, even their words could not be heard in the universe and could only be heard on Earth. That was something that Yi Zichen cared about very much. This is an old saying of our ancestral dragon tribe. What about it? The mustached man had an arrogant look on his face. Yi Zichen was shocked when he saw that. To think that he could still be so arrogant even now. He couldn't help but think of Nancy, that little thief. Even after Yi Zichen slapped her face until it was swollen, she was still stubbornly shouting at Yi Zichen. Could this be the habit of the ancestral dragon clan? This was toughness. Milky Way Lord, don't be too full of yourself. You'll be in big trouble soon. You won't be able to gloat for long, the mustached man shouted with red eyes. The thing I'm least afraid of is threats. Yi Zichen smiled inexplicably, then took out a crystal worth 10 million points. When the crystal was taken out, everyone's eyes were on it. Who? If you want these points, then go beat him up. Yi Zichen pointed at the mustached man's face and pursed his lips into a smile. The harder you beat, the more I'll give. Immediately, everyone in the casino turned to look at the mustached man. Even the thugs in the casino were among them. If it's not enough, 20 million. Yi Zichen took out another point crystal. You? How dare you? The mustached man's eyes were filled with terror. Then, he saw that everyone in the casino, they were all rubbing their fists and walking towards him. Do you all want to die? If anyone dares to move, I'll… Dong dong dong. The entire casino was in chaos. The deafening sounds of smashing caused Yi Zichen to reveal a look of satisfaction. He glanced to the side. Unknowingly when, the fake blue lotus fairy seemed to have disappeared. When he looked at the mustache man, he discovered that the blue lotus fairy was kicking the mustache man again. Moreover, she was kicking him more ruthlessly than society. What was going on? Aren't they together? When Yi Zichen saw the other fighters, he understood as well. It was all for points. All right, stop fighting. Yi Zichen didn't want to see anyone die, so he shouted for everyone to stop. Everyone retreated behind Yi Zichen. It was as if they were Yi Zichen's hired thugs. Only Blue Lotus Fairy in the end, she even stepped on the mustache man's face a few times, then ran back with an expression of asking for praise, and reached out her hand towards Yi Zichen with a flirtatious look. What she meant was, please give me points. The mustache man's face was covered in blood as he panted heavily, while his arms trembled intensely. How is it? You still want to be cocky with me? Yi Zichen squinted his eyes and smiled. He put his left hand in his pocket, then stepped on the mustache man's face. Actually, I really have to thank the ancestral dragon clan. You helped me regain my youth. After so many years of experience, I nearly forgot that I was once a hot-blooded young man as well. You are cocky, but I'm much more cocky than you. Yi Zichen kicked the mustache man into the corner of the wall, then glanced at the other fighters, then at the gamblers whose eyes were filled with anticipation. You guys split the points. Yi Zichen chucked 2-point stones onto the table. Everyone immediately charged up in an attempt to take the point stones for themselves. Blue Lotus Fairy also wanted to snatch them. Seeing that Yi Zichen was about to leave, she thought about it for a moment, then clenched her teeth and gave up on the points, then hurriedly chased after Yi Zichen. Yi Zichen shuddered, then turned around, and saw Blue Lotus Fairy run over in small steps, then punch his chest with her fist. He is bad. How could you leave me in that sort of place? Big bad. I'll hit you. Yi Zichen looked silently at Blue Lotus Fairy, who punched his chest with her fist, while his mind was filled with question marks. Older sister? Who exactly are you? Chapter 28:46. Why did she follow me? Yi Zichen knitted his eyebrows tightly as he looked at the coquettish woman in front of him. On the streets of the city, many ancestral dragon commoners looked in their direction. It was human nature to love beauty. Appreciating beautiful things is also human nature. No matter how much Yi Zichen slandered Blue Lotus Fairy, she was truly a rare beauty. Many people on the streets of the ancestral dragon clan were stunned when they saw her. They subconsciously glanced at the boorish woman beside them. Perhaps they were also shocked at how could there be such a seductive person in the world. Furthermore, the person beside them was indeed a war god. Inhi. I'll hit you. Blue Lotus Fairy was still immersed in her role as she pounded Yi Zichen's chest with her fist. Yi Zichen? Beauty, I think you're seriously ill. Yi Zichen frowned and looked at her for a while. Yi Zichen frowned and looked at her for a moment. What are you doing here? Do I know you? I'm Blue Lotus Fairy. Heh. What? Could there be a trap within a trap? And she said she was Blue Lotus Fairy? She really felt like Yi Zichen was blind. That's enough. Even Yi Zichen's attitude towards beauties was much better. Looks are justice. Yi Zichen didn't really agree with that. However, people with good looks were indeed more likely to be treated more leniently by others. That was unavoidable. It was a very simple example. If there were two people standing in front of you, and one of them had a beautiful face that could make even the fishes and beasts fall from the sky, and the other had a round face with a thick waist, short legs, big buttocks, and a rusty underarm, who would you be more willing to interact with? The answer was obvious. As long as there wasn't something wrong with their eyes or mind, they would most likely choose the former. Let me give you another example. There was once a woman who was caught as a mistress, but because her looks were passable, people on the internet went crazy and asked her to be let go. A mistress. In ancient times, she would be drowned in a pig cage. Even in modern times, she would be hated by everyone. Yet, when it came to her, it became like it wasn't her fault. She was also an innocent victim. Truly laughable. But no matter what, Yi Zichen was the same. This was also why Yi Zichen had yet to reach this stage. Yet, she could still be so tolerant towards this accomplice. Indeed, this woman was a little too beautiful. From Yi Zichen's impression, the only person who could compare to her was the head of the Virtual Realm Corporation, the head of Wunli. How many points did the mustached man promise you? What makes you so responsible? It's all over. The gambling den's business ended the moment I left. Yi Zichen sighed as he looked at Blue Lotus Fairy. What are you talking about? Fairy Blue Lotus tilts her head in confusion. I am really Fairy Blue Lotus. Why don't you believe me? This time, Fairy Blue Lotus's tone was very sincere. Such a sincere expression and words caused Yi Zichen to subconsciously squint his eyes and look at her for a moment. Was it really Blue Lotus Fairy? No matter how he looked at it, the two of them didn't seem to have any connection. I am really Fairy Blue Lotus. Blue Lotus Fairy confirmed again. Is it really you? Then what should I say to prove it? I was the one who brought you here, and you gave me 20,000 points. Fairy Blue Lotus pursed her lips. We got to know each other when I was selling the original flavor. You came to find me, and I told you that I would give you a 20% discount? F***ck, it really is you. Yi Zichen was finally able to confirm that she was Fairy Blue Lotus after hearing what Fairy Blue Lotus said. That was something that only the two of them knew. Even if the mustached man found an actor, it was impossible for him to know that. There was only one possibility, and that was that Fairy Blue Lotus told this actor as well. It was me, Fairy Blue Lotus shrugged. Blue Lotus Fairy shrugs her shoulders and says, Didn't I already tell you that I'm quite pretty? Even Wunli might not be able to compare to me. How about it? Do you regret not using 50,000 to buy me for a day? No worries, if you want to buy me now, I'm willing to sell it to you. I confirmed it. This person was definitely Fairy Blue Lotus. Just based on her bottomless spirit alone, it was not something an ordinary person could compare to. Why are you with the people from the gambling den? What do you mean, I was kidnapped by them? With that, Fairy Blue Lotus revealed an expression of being greatly wronged, as she covered her face with her hands and sobbed. I wanted to play a few rounds as well, then the news of you winning several tens of millions in the gambling den got out. You know about the gambling den, you can lose, but you definitely can't lose that much. The points you won far exceeded their expectations, so they had to think of a way to get them back. That's not a problem. Yizichin rubbed his nose and nodded. Then they captured me, Fairy Blue Lotus continued to sob. Fairy Blue Lotus is still covering her face as she sobs. Back then I also did not know what was going on, they just directly knocked me out. When I woke up, they told me to cooperate with them and get my points back from you. Ha! That was truly unbelievable. Yizichin stared at Fairy Blue Lotus for a long time. Why did they think that you could threaten me? Not at the start. Fairy Blue Lotus shook her head. Fairy Blue Lotus shook her head feeling wronged. From the start they wanted to mess with me. They felt that I was the one who brought you here, and that this matter started because of me. Since I'm so good looking, they wanted to collect some interest from me, and then kill me. But you know, I'm a person who keeps my chastity. Chastity? Yizichin felt his scalp tingle. All he could think about was when Fairy Blue Lotus's actions had anything to do with keeping her chastity. What he didn't know was that Fairy Blue Lotus didn't care about that. I definitely couldn't let them taint my chastity, so I could only lie to them helplessly. I said that you were my pursuer, and that I had the ability to make you return your points to them. They didn't believe me at the start, but then, maybe I was just lucky, or maybe we were fated. Since you really are the Milky Way Lord, they believed me. Fairy Blue Lotus pursed her lips. Blue Lotus Fairy purses her lips and says softly, afterwards, the people of the gambling den told me to threaten you. However, I am a person who is very righteous in the pugilistic world. I only pretended to surrender, but in my heart, I never wanted to cooperate with them. Is that so? Yizichin smiled for some reason, then grabbed Fairy Blue Lotus's arm. Come, look at me. Yizichin stared at Fairy Blue Lotus's crying eyes, which were devoid of tears. You still dare to lie to me? Do you want me to crush your head? Chapter 2847. Towards all sorts of coincidences, Yizichin maintained a trusting and tolerant attitude. Actually, Yizichin did agree with some of Blue Lotus Fairy's earlier words. He was indeed brought here by Blue Lotus Fairy. The amount of points he had back then was already not something that the mustached man and company could contend against. They needed to find a source to vent. Then, they found Blue Lotus Fairy. That wasn't a problem. Blue Lotus Fairy wanted to live. Purposefully disguising their relationship in order to gain the right to negotiate was also possible. The problem was what she said at the end. Was she pretending to surrender? Stop lying. Her acting was very realistic. She said that she was willing to cooperate with the people in the casino. Why did Yizichin believe her so much? It all started from when the people in the casino captured her. Although she seemed to struggle very fiercely, the people in the casino actually didn't do much to her. From that, it could be seen that the people in the casino believed that Blue Lotus Fairy would cooperate with them. Otherwise, according to a normal situation, the people in the casino should have tried their best to stop Blue Lotus Fairy's actions. Furthermore, Blue Lotus Fairy should have been in a hurry to escape from them. However, from the people in the casino and Blue Lotus Fairy, they didn't feel like that at all. Yizichin even suspected that Blue Lotus Fairy had taken the initiative to cooperate with them in order to gain some benefit. Blue Lotus Fairy was stunned. She also seemed to be surprised at why Yizichin would say something like that. However, Blue Lotus Fairy dodged his gaze and pouted. He naughty. How can you be so mean to me? Continue pretending? Yizichin grabbed Blue Lotus Fairy's fist and frowned. What are you doing? How can you treat a lady with such a bad attitude? Blue Lotus Fairy said in a troubled manner. I did it all for you, and those bastards. Are you worthy? Yizichin wanted to spit and twitched his mouth. You're a lady? Comrade Blue Lotus, let me say a very simple thing. If you were kidnapped, what would your first thought be? Scared? Blue Lotus Fairy raised her eyebrows. After being scared, beg for mercy? After begging for mercy, what should I do? Fairy Blue Lotus was stunned by the question. This is the first time I've been kidnapped. I'm not too sure what kind of thoughts a kidnapped person should have. Don't you want to run? Yizichin was speechless. Run? Should I run? Hearing this, Blue Lotus Fairy's expression changed, and she said in a low voice, I still have to run? But I was kidnapped, how can I run? I was right in front of you. Yizichin glared speechlessly. What's more, the casino didn't arrest you at the start. As long as you follow me wholeheartedly, do you think those people from the gambling house will be able to capture you again? Blue Lotus Fairy, think about it carefully and see if this is the case. Then, Fairy Blue Lotus understood the logic behind it. A few days after she came here, she understood the rules of the game here. Points decided everything. What mattered here was not whose fist was harder, but whose points were higher. Those with more points could easily bully those with lower points. Back then, with the points that Yizichin had, if she insisted on staying by his side, then the people from the gambling house really wouldn't be able to do anything to her. But if that was the case, I have to go back. If I don't, then wouldn't my 4 million be gone? Blue Lotus Fairy replied. The moment she said that, Blue Lotus Fairy covered her mouth in shock. She slowly raised her head, and saw Yizichin looking at her with a smile that didn't seem like a smile. I was wrong, I was extremely scared. Blue Lotus Fairy instantly smiled, then coughed. I was too scared, so I didn't think that much. When the man with the mustache shouted, his voice was so loud that my little heart started pounding, and I forgot what I was supposed to do. Continue pretending? Yizichin shook his head coldly. Say what's on your mind, right? Just now, 4 million points. Blue Lotus Fairy, isn't that too little? I had 500 million at the time, and you want 4 million? How would I know that you had 500 million? I made it up when you said that you had 200 million. I only wanted to get 4 million and run. Blue Lotus Fairy twitched her mouth. Blue Lotus Fairy curls her lips and says, All right, I won't pretend with you anymore. It is true that I took the initiative to cooperate with them, but I was indeed kidnapped by them. You spoke the truth? I did, so what? Blue Lotus Fairy said calmly. Can you still pinch me to death? I'm a human venerable one. No matter how many points you have, it won't be long before you'll have to respectfully address me as your teacher. You really are a sovereign? I guarantee it, Blue Lotus Fairy shrugged. It's just that the ancestral dragon clan was too anxious to find me. If it was 10-odd years later, I might have already become the ruler. Brat, since we've spoken frankly, then I have something to discuss with you. Say it. Why don't you buy me? F***ck. Again? It was good enough that Yizichin didn't cause trouble for her. She took the initiative to cooperate with the people in the casino in order to get his point. If it wasn't because he did earn quite a bit, and if it wasn't because Blue Lotus Fairy and company set him up, he wouldn't have been able to earn the remaining 4 billion, Yizichin would have kicked her. Now, she actually brought it up again. Is there something wrong with you? Why is a sovereign always thinking about selling yourself? Yizichin glared. Don't you feel any shame at all? Eating shame as a meal? Shame has a place to sleep. Blue Lotus Fairy twitched her mouth. I don't have any income at all right now, and I only sleep in the wilderness. It's fine if it's me, but my little disciple also came to the ancestral dragon clan. She also sleeps on the streets with me every day. That's not good. What's more, she's only a 14-year-old child, and she's been working outside for the past 2 days. Milky Way Lord, Do you have the heart to watch us poor sisters starve and freeze outside, exposed to the wind and rain? I can, Yi Zichen said firmly. There were plenty of people with hard lives in this world. If Yi Zichen wanted to take care of them all, he wouldn't be able to. Blue Lotus Fairy and her students had nothing to do with him. So what if they sleep outside? There are still a bunch of her eminences living outside. Stop acting pitiful here. Can't you mortgage your points? I don't have any. Aren't you a sovereign? You don't even have a divine artifact? I do, I lost them all on the way here, Blue Lotus Fairy shrugged. I met Her Eminence of the human race on the way here, so I played a few rounds with him. I lost all of them to him. In the end, I even lost my warship. I came in a crappy spaceship. The spaceship parked outside is yours. Yes. It's not a loss for you to buy me, Blue Lotus Fairy muttered. I can teach you what you learn in school in the future. It's pretty much like a private tutor. There's no need to doubt me. When school starts, there will definitely be a lot of students looking for private tutors. You guys will be enjoying it in advance. What's more, since you bought me, I'm yours. You can do whatever you want to me. You understand? Blue Lotus Fairy bumped Yi Zichen's arm with a flirtatious look. By me, I'm worth it. Chapter 2848. She tried so hard to promote it. Yi Zichen was truly a bit moved by Blue Lotus Fairy's persistence. It was rare to see a dignified venerable making such a humble request in the human race universe. You can do whatever you want with what she says. Yi Zichen was truly not interested. However, the secret techniques of the universe that she mentioned just now did interest Yi Zichen. There was nothing wrong with what she said. Even if he went to school to learn, he would only come into contact with these sovereigns. Hiring a private tutor to stay among them would be of great benefit to his future. Blue Lotus Fairy placed her hands in front of her. Her eyes seemed to be twinkling with stars as she continuously released her charm. Be a bit more normal. Yi Zichen let out a deep sigh. To be honest, Blue Lotus Fairy's coquettishness was truly unbearable. She probably wasn't the type of person that would act coquettishly in the human race. Women could actually release charm when they act coquettishly, it was a bonus. As for her, not giving her a negative score was already very kind. How terrifying! Blue Lotus Fairy frowned. She twitched her mouth when she felt the rejection in Yi Zichen's eyes. You're really? Is there something wrong with your orientation? You actually have a look of disdain when such a beautiful woman acts coquettishly towards you. It's not expensive to buy a mirror. Yi Zichen retorted speechlessly, then couldn't be bothered to continue the topic. It's not like I can't hire you. Oh! Blue Lotus Fairy, who was about to get angry, instantly brightened up. What do you want? I can agree to anything. I also said it just now. Do whatever you want. Blue Lotus Fairy instantly returned to her previous tone. She pinched her fingers in a very shy manner. Even if something really happens, I will take good care of him myself. Yi Zichen. She really has no limits. What the hell is she saying to me? What accident? Take good care of who? Stop it, Yi Zichen glared. I don't want anything to happen between us. I'm just a bit interested in the private tutor you mentioned. Our team does need a private tutor who understands the universe's secret technique. Are you sure you can do it? Of course. Blue Lotus Fairy nodded her head vigorously. Aren't you my fan? Don't you know how fierce my universe secret technique is? To be honest, I don't know you, Yi Zichen muttered. From start to finish, it was Blue Lotus Fairy who was immersed in her own fantasies, feeling like she was her fan. Actually, he had never heard of this venerable Blue Lotus Fairy, who was still confidently patting her chest, suddenly stiffened. It was as if he had been petrified. In the blink of an eye, she stared at Yi Zichen in astonishment. You really don't know me? I really don't know you. Although this might be rather hurtful, Yi Zichen still nodded. You might be very famous amongst the humans, but I really don't know who you are. What are you doing in the human race? Which giant are you working for? My flag, my ass! Blue Lotus Fairy shouts. How could you not recognize me? I am Blue Lotus Fairy, idol. I always appear in entertainment programs, don't you watch them? Entertainment program? Yeah, Blue Lotus Fairy nodded. Blue Lotus Fairy nodded her head vigorously. A famous singer, you. You must be a monster. Don't you even read entertainment gossip? If you do, then you'll definitely know that I'm right. You said it yourself, Yi Zichen shrugged helplessly. Yi Zichen shrugged helplessly. If I did, I would definitely know you. If I don't, then that means I don't watch it. I really want to cough up blood. Why is there such a weirdo in the human universe? He doesn't even watch entertainment programs. Then what does this kind of person do every day? Is he just thinking about cultivation and becoming a monk? You're truly a monster, Blue Lotus Fairy muttered. Who's a monster? I have proper business here. Yi Zichen twitched his mouth with a frown. He was extremely busy with the Milky Way's matters every day. Watching entertainment programs. Understanding entertainment gossip? He's truly grown up now. What's more, as a qualified expert of the universe, he should follow the path of cultivation. Watching entertainment programs, indulging would make people become lazier and lazier. You too. Why are you an idol as a sovereign? You should be cultivating and fighting for the survival of the human race instead of doing those useless things. It's fine if you're a domain star level, but you're a sovereign. Don't you want to become an overlord and walk towards the peak of the universe? Yi Zichen twitched his mouth. You actually have time to do those meaningless things. I really don't know how you became a sovereign with your lazy personality. Yeah, it's really strange. Blue Lotus Fairy twitched her mouth. What was unexpected was that Blue Lotus Fairy was not annoyed by Yi Zichen's retort at all. Instead, she nodded in agreement. Say, I don't know why either. Even if I don't cultivate, my cultivation is still rising like a rocket. I'm not like some other cultivators who try their best to cultivate, but in the end, they can only become a lord. I'm a king in 100 years. A sovereign in 1,000 years. Why do you think that's the case? It's fortunate that I didn't waste my energy to become an idol. If I really cultivated properly, then wouldn't some people who can only be a lord after living for several thousand years commit suicide out of shame? Blue Lotus Fairy muttered to herself, while occasionally glancing at Yi Zichen. F***ck. A king in 100 years, a sovereign in 1,000 years. This is monstrous talent? It's just that she always talks about a lord and her gaze. Are you hinting at me? Am I hinting at you? Blue Lotus Fairy glared at him in surprise. Am I not hinting? I'm talking about you. You've lived for several thousand years. Did you get a king? I really don't know why the Master of the Milky Way accepted a disciple like you. You're such a waste of the Master of the Milky Way's reputation. I haven't reached 1,000 years yet. Thank you, Yi Zichen muttered. Oh, but I was a king in 100 years. What about you? Blue Lotus Fairy shrugged. My 100 years, Yi Zichen thought back. I seem to have been in the immortal, demon, and demon realms 100 years ago. Can't say it right? TSK, I really don't know what right you have to lecture me. I became an idol in order to give you people who have no talent and only know how to work hard a reason to live. Otherwise, if I worked hard with you guys, then you guys wouldn't be able to live. Blue Lotus Fairy crossed her arms proudly. Very good. Yi Zichen squinted his eyes and smiled. Yi Zichen squinted his eyes and smiled. He didn't think that Blue Lotus Fairy would actually use talent to attack him. The universe was vast, and there were many monsters. Yi Zichen didn't find it strange that he met a monster like Blue Lotus Fairy. Then do you have points? Yi Zichen squinted his eyes and smiled. You're so talented, but do you have points? Blue Lotus Fairy, who had the upper hand just a second ago, was stunned. Aren't you still going to beg me to buy you? What are you pretending for? You still want me to buy you? Yes. Blue Lotus Fairy's head instantly drooped. Apologize to me. Yi Zichen snorted coldly with his hands behind his back. Then write me a 100,000-word apology letter. If you don't finish it, then I won't buy you,